Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarouche.
And this is the Nerdy.
The Wordy.
The Book Club. As we finish up Cell, a whole ass planet of the Cosmere. We did a whole one.
Did we?
Apparently.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I hate the door handle. Okay, let's do this.
Yeah, how dare.
Let's scooch this.
Okay.
What's up, podcast listeners? That was great content. How you doing? Clarouche has a new chair, and I don't know what to do about it. It's changed everything about the angles of our room.
It's great. I love it.
And I'm getting used to it.
What? How is it that different?
I'm just saying I'm getting used to it. I didn't say it was bad. I just said, and I'm getting used to it.
Okay. Well,
That's
I'm
all.
happy for you.
Evolt Explorer says, oh my god, first time not just listening to the podcast.
What? Welcome in.
Guys, everyone behave. There's a podcast listener in the chat.
Oh, God.
You know they're not as deviant as you fucking YouTube watchers.
Oh.
And certainly not as deviant as you demonic Twitch viewers.
We're about to find out.
Katharak, thank you for joining the members of the Nargs of the Nerd Table
The members
people.
of the Nargs.
Shut up.
Thank you for coming a Narg at the Nerd Table. There's infinite amount of seats, so if you want to join up, you totally can do that. There is an audiobook chapter reaction to
Day 98. Yeah.
Which is very fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Blue Giftin 20 members. A solid 20.
A dang
my
even
God.
2-0. God damn.
Everyone give Stream Elements a moment. The chat is going to be broken.
Yeah, give it a second. You get a subscription. Blue is the Oprah of our channel. Blue, thank you so much for 20 gifted memberships. Holy shit.
You are too kind.
Now 20 new people can go listen to the audiobook reaction. So you're welcome.
Gotta fuck that chat up. Yes, Blue, you do.
Yeah. Blue is just here to cause absolute chaos.
Blige Monkey says the Narg table is non-Euclidean. Clarice, will you explain for chat what non-Euclidean means?
I literally couldn't tell you.
I was hoping you would just make something up.
Oh, the Euclids are a subset of orchids. And the Euclids are actually like the younger child version before they metamorphosize into flowers. But before that, they are actually insects.
You said orchids, and I heard orcas.
Orcas!
And then when you were like, when they metamorphose into flowers, I was like, whoa, what is happening?
So it's actually insect flower
when the baby
whale.
whales become flowers, and
Yes.
My brain just shattered.
You know what? They're so close. They're so close.
Shattered. What's up, everybody? This morning, our book club is brought to you by MistyMountainGaming.com. MistyMountainGaming.com are our good friends that we talk about too much because we like them, and they like us, and we have a good time having a good time. I'm a rocket ship on my way to Mars. If you want to use code nerdynightly15, you can get 15% off that dang order over at MistyMountainGaming.com. Get all the TTRPG accoutrement that you need to play all of your titties with your role-playing ganders.
You can play all your titties if you want.
If you got big titty ganders, those ducks with just those sweet mommy milkers, I got dice for you. Thank you, MistyMountainGaming.com, for sponsoring this nonsense. Clarice, back to you.
Official ACM, welcome to the Nerd Table. I have Aeon Fancy Door in Elantris to... What? If you believe the show will be hinged, and that's just how... I have Aeon Fancy Door in Elantris to sell if you... What?
Try again. You're so close.
I don't get it.
They're saying like
so confused.
They are saying I have a fancy door in Elantris to sell you if you believe the show will be hinged.
Oh, to sell you. Oh,
They're saying like if you think the show will be hinged, you're stupid. So I have a fancy door to sell you.
That was a good joke, and I missed it.
Yep.
So I appreciate the effort that was wasted on me.
You guys don't understand how hard my life is being as funny as I am with a wife who doesn't understand my jokes. Like I am hilarious. And my wife just doesn't understand English most of the time.
I think you're very funny when I get it. Yeah.
My life is hard, okay?
It's such a struggle.
Such a struggle.
Josh, thank you for that super chat. Dying to know if the epilogue at all changed how you feel at the end of the chapter reaction. We will definitely get to that.
Yes.
Phil Hughes as well. Thank you for that super chat. You haven't finished Cell until you've read the Ars Arcanum. I can't even really explain why you're missing out without spoiling it for you. That's fair.
Isn't the rest of the Ars Arcanum different planets? I thought we finished the Cell section of the Ars Arcanum.
Who knows? Maybe it's people researching Cell because of that weird like essay thing. So we're about to learn more about it. Maybe. I don't know.
Johnny Coleman, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you, Johnny.
Non-Euclidean refers to a space that doesn't obey the rules of Pythagoras' theorem. For example, 5e D&D uses non-Euclidean space. A diagonal is still only 5 feet. Not in my D&D.
Oh yeah, you math it out?
I make them work for it.
That sounds heinous. That is a crime against TTRPGs.
Carrion says, Clarence laughs at Nerdy all the time, just not when he wants her to. That is a fact. That is just true. That's a true statement.
I'm laughing with you.
Nope.
Mostly?
Sometimes.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Percentage-wise, we're going with mostly. You know?
Oh, Ars Arcanum is different from Arcanum Unbound? Oh, no, we didn't read the fucking, like, this are all the symbols shit. Guys, I got life to live.
Oh, is that like the dictionary?
Yes, we did not read the dictionary.
Look.
We haven't finished Cell because we have not read the dictionary.
I have not had any interest in reading a dictionary before. I will probably get around to it at some point, but that sounds...
I read the dictionary once.
Why?
I was in detention, and it was the book that I had, and I was bored, and there was nothing to do, so I just read the dictionary.
All right. Wow.
Yeah.
Couldn't be me. If there's no magic in it, I do not give a fuck.
Hey, the dictionary does have the word magic in it.
Fair. All right. You know what? That's fair. Which spelling is it, though?
The English one?
It's not like the Candela with the extra K at the end.
That would not be the English one, so no.
Is that not English? I don't know.
No.
People just seem to, like, pick different ways of spelling magic for funsies, and I'm like, all right, if you say so.
Dedsy says, I can't imagine Nerdy ever being sent to detention, which is the funniest thing that you could say.
Nerdy talks back.
I'm an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also...
The teachers would get tired. They'd be like, just
too smart.
fuck off to detention.
I don't mean too smart in a, like...
You're a smart ass.
Well, but I don't mean, like, in a... But that was the problem, right? When I was a kid, I am really good at learning from a book, and I'm really bad at learning from a lecture. I can't sit and listen to someone explain something to me because I get ahead of them, and then I struggle. Like, especially with math, I would, like, be like, okay, because this, I understand what you're saying, and then I would get frustrated because I'm like, no, I get it. I need you to stop explaining something I understand to me. And I was worse than that because I would read the textbooks for my classes before the semester would start.
That's disgusting.
And then I would just show up to class already knowing everything and then sit there frustrated that I already knew what the teachers were trying to teach.
So it was your own fault.
And so I was just a fucking nightmare until I got sent to a special school where I just got to teach myself.
Blue,
thank you for
Twitch.
10 subs over on the Twitch.
Blue was like, you know what? We need some more memberships over here as well. Thank you
I like
so
that we
much.
got the umpteenth doctor got a subscription over on Twitch.
Good username. Thank
Jurassic
you
Clark
for those Twitch subs. Let's fucking go.
Thank you, Blue.
Nice.
Dedsy, thank you guys for chat. I was being sarcastic. That's fair.
Yeah. No, we get it. We get it.
It is funny. I think that people think that because I'm like a studious person that I would have been good in school, and I test really well, but fuck was I bad at school. I almost flunked out of like grade 4 because I was like such a fucking nightmare. But it was just that I was bored.
Yeah. School did not go well for me either. You know, it's like almost like these one-size-fits-all institutions aren't the best learning environments.
Well, and that's what it is, right? Like, I can learn.
Uh-huh.
I can't learn in a room with 20 other kids.
Yeah.
It's too distracting. There's too much going on, and I have to go at my own pace. And if I have to slow down for other people, I get frustrated.
Yeah.
And I just know that about myself, so I don't put myself in positions where that is an option.
Yeah. Yeah, we did not have a choice for most of our lives, but like, yes, we've learned about ourselves.
But once I did have a choice, it changed my whole life.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just being in a school environment that benefited the way that my brain works allowed me to enjoy school for the first time in high school. Right?
Yeah.
And it was such a difference.
Yeah.
And I just, I sometimes, like, I wonder how many kids get lost. And look, this might sound braggadocious or whatever, but I'm not trying to I'm trying to make a more sincere point here of, my worry is for the kids that never find that other school system or never get that opportunity that we consider to be lost causes. By the time before they're even an adult, we give up on them because they don't work well within a system that we build for every single person to go through that just is so not one size fits all.
Yeah.
And how many people never really get a shake because of that, right?
Yeah. Because someone's not paying attention, they fall through the cracks. It happens all the fucking time.
Yeah, and it just makes me sad. I wish that we were more open as a society to alternative methods of teaching.
Yeah.
And the problem is that we so underfund education that it is so hard. To bring this back to a book club, it's so hard for teachers nowadays to address the needs of their students, particularly post-COVID. And particularly in this like post-COVID area where there's a lot of children who are now in like later elementary school who are not capable of reading. And there are these wonderful teachers who I think are fucking superheroes desperately trying to catch them up and getting them to the point where where what we would have considered in 2019 to be a normal like 6th grade education, we're trying to get them there.
Yeah.
But these teachers are so understaffed, so underfunded, so underpaid that we're like... The backbone of our society, which is raising the next generation of people who are going to be functional members of society, is falling apart. And we're like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's just, it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah. School was rough because it was like, I nearly almost failed grade 10. I was like, gifted, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They were like, oh, very, very smart. But I was like terrible at paying attention. And then, but I would like, test well, like I would like figure shit out. And in math I was particularly bad because I would figure it out but not the way that the teachers taught me to figure it out, and so I would lose all the marks for showing my work, but I would get the answers right, and it was bullshit. So I would like test really well for the most part, and then in like later in high school, because I was like kind of bad at school but good at the tests, I developed testing anxiety. Because I was like, wow, there's so much pressure on these tests. And in Alberta, your finale test is 50% of your mark. Yeah. And so it was literal nightmare. But I want to say, Arzu, thank you so much for 10 gifted memberships. That is incredibly kind. We are literally everyone in chat by the end of this is going to be green. I swear to God, there can't be anybody left.
Judah Canizares, thank you for that super chat. I'm a para-educator, and truly it's just Band-Aid over Band-Aid. The entire system needs an overhaul, but Lamau, glad to see you all today.
Thanks for being here.
And thank you for being an educator.
Yeah.
It is a skill set that I don't have, and as much as I complain about the education system, I am not helping because I can't teach.
No, I have a lot of respect for people who can, because I could never.
Thank you for doing the work that you do. All teachers. Anyone who tries to benefit the minds of other people, thank you so much. You're wonderful. And I truly hope that at some point we fix the system for you so that you can continue to do what you love, but are paid better for it. Because really, teachers deserve so much more than they get. It's wild.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's like controversial. The American political system is so polarized right now that might be a controversial statement. But like, I think teachers should make more and be funded better in their school systems.
I think teachers...
That is my bold political statement of the day.
I honestly think that teachers should be paid like on par with politicians. Politicians should make far, far, far less.
Yeah.
And teachers should make a lot fucking more.
Maybe that would incentivize politicians then to handle the education system if they had to live on a teacher's salary.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
You know what? That's a system
you get
I would honestly vote for that.
And you also have to buy your own pencils.
No, make politicians have a teacher salary, and their 1,000-page bills that they're printing constantly, they have to pay for the paper.
They have to pay for that, yeah.
They have to pay for the paper
Every time
and the
a bill
printing.
gets thrown out because they can't fucking agree on it, they have to pay out of their pocket for it.
Chris Pilkington says, also nurses. Chris, that'll be our political stance that we'll start next episode with in 2 weeks when we start Warbreaker. I'll go on a rant about how poorly nurses are treated and how the entirety of our system will collapse if we don't better support the people who do 90% of the medical work in our hospitals.
Truly, yeah. Yeah, I love that. We are not here next week. I want to finish up our housekeeping with
Oh, do you want to read The Expanse next week for the next episode and do like book 1 of The Expanse in a one-shot, or do you want to do Warbreaker?
It means we're reading a lot in LA, which is fine. I don't know how long that book is. Yeah.
We have 2 flights.
So next week we're not here. Next week we are in Los Angeles to celebrate Nerdy's birthday. So there won't be a book club because we can't guarantee that we would have good enough internet. You know what I mean? Blue, we know what your vote is. Yeah, it's one of those things where I just don't know how much.
It's about 19 hours of audiobook.
That is okay.
So
it's not terrible. Do we want to just do book 7 of The Expanse?
No, I want to read them in order.
Okay.
Because there are differences, and I don't want to get to book 7 and be like, wait a second, how is Alex Kamal alive? You know what I mean?
Hilarious.
Yeah. So we know the Expanse plot already, so we're gonna cover those in one episode book clubs. We're not gonna. So it'd only be a 1 week. It would be basically like next week would be next week will be a week off. Then the week after that, maybe we do the Leviathan's Wake in 1, and then the week after that we start Warbreaker.
I honestly think the week we get back we start Warbreaker, and then we do our like Expanse live stream where we talk about the show, and then we announce when we're gonna do like book 1.
Good. Okay.
So that our Expanse people are aware of when it's happening and that kind of thing.
I love that. Here's the plan that we just made up live on stream.
I love this.
2 weeks from today, we are doing... Wait, where's my Discord? I'll tell you guys the exact section of Warbreaker we're doing. Before we get into Cell, I want... Because I haven't made a graphic, but I'll post a graphic later today with this schedule. No, it's in my messages from
Okay, I was like, I don't know where it is.
Razu. Razu. We're doing the prologue through chapter 1 of Warbreaker in 2 weeks.
21.
Chapter 21. I'm so fucking dyslexic.
Prologue through chapter 21. There you go.
If you're wondering why I struggled in school when I was a kid,
didn't notice.
Dyslexia. Prologue through chapter 21 in 2 weeks. And then, so we're going to do 4 weeks of Warbreaker. And then we might do Expanse after that. But yeah, when we get back from LA, we are going to do a long Expanse stream where we just talk about the entirety of the show. And then in that stream, we'll tell you when we're going to start book 1 of The Expanse. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to hopefully... My goal is to finish most of The Expanse this year. Or probably finish all of The Expanse this year. There's like 7 months left, right? May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. There's 8 months.
Yeah.
We might be able to finish The Expanse this year.
Sure. Why not? I love that for us.
We'll see. We'll see.
Figure it out.
The last 3 books, obviously, we would probably take a month each, so we'll have to figure out how we want to do that. But
yeah.
And then Warbreaker's next. I don't know what comes after Warbreaker. Or is it what's after Warbreaker?
There will be commissions for this section, so DM me those for there. Great.
So
that will be not next week, the 26th, I believe. 26th off. No book club. You get a break. Lucky you. We're going to be in LA. And then the following week, which is May 5th or something like that.
Oh, shit. After Warbreaker's Way of Kings?
Sick.
That's going to be like a 9-week book club.
Oh, yeah. That's the hefty one. So
my understanding is that Way of King is 9,000 pages. There's 84 billion characters. And that there's a guy named Kelsier in it.
So we'll do Warbreaker, then we'll do an Expanse.
I don't think there's actually a guy named Kelsier in it. That was a joke.
Oh, okay. I was like, damn, he recycles names a lot. 1,000 pages, easy. Yeah, I've read The Mists of Avalon.
No, guys, we did a 6 split for Wheel of Time, and I think we'll bring back the 6 split for Way of Kings.
6, yeah, that probably sounds good.
Oh my god, we're 20 minutes in. We should probably start the show.
We're like 30 minutes in at this point.
I mean, we're literally 20 minutes in. I looked at the exact amount of time that we are into the show.
I was looking at the time that it is right now. It's fine. Lodwell, thank you for that super chat. I always look forward to Smut Corner, so that will be fun. Here's the thing. Not Warbreaker. Way of Kings will probably take most of the summer because we are traveling quite a bit. Yeah. So we will let you know how that's gonna work. Yeah, we also might have to do book club while we're in LA.
Here's what I will say. I feel like I understand that we can read it fast. It's not the speed at which we read it. It's actually how much I want to be able to break it down in book club a little bit.
Yeah.
I felt a little bit in Mistborn that we were rushing.
Oh, really? Okay.
Even a little bit in some of those Mistborn episodes, trying to talk about everything that was happening. And so I want to slow down a little bit more and be able to dissect Brandon Sanderson a little bit more instead of feeling like we are just rushing, trying to get to all the plot beats in our show.
Right.
Okay. And so, yeah, we might slow some things down to have just a little bit more time in the show to get to each chapter and to kind of get into some of the smaller details and not kind of have to jump over stuff to get to the big stuff.
Yeah. We don't need to rush through it, you know?
Yeah.
You guys don't want book club to be over faster, do you? What happens when we get to the end of Brandon Sanderson? Well, they want us to get to
Discworld, apparently.
Yeah, no.
And please, there's books.
I know. It was a joke.
There's books.
It was a joke.
We'll start reading the EU Star Wars novels, so you can meet Mara Jade.
That actually would be very cool.
So Clarus, Judah Catazarius, thank you for that super chat. Walk is hard to put down. There's so much stuff. I love that.
I love that. Arzu as well. Thank you for that super chat.
Arzu is currently rereading Way of Kings so that they can figure out the chapter splits. Thank you, Arzu.
Doing the Lord's work.
Thank you.
Arzu, I don't know what we'd do without you, so thank you.
Okay. So, welcome to the Cell Full Planet recap. Giant Coleman says Walk is essentially its own trilogy. 9 episodes sounds reasonable. Oh my god.
Wow, really? Okay.
Oh my god. We'll do 6. We're going to do 6 and a full book recap. So 7 episodes.
To the Nerd Table. God damn. It's going to be a lot of reading.
Arzu, thank you for that super chat. Considering the page count for that, I have to split it to at least 7 sections, so watch out. Okay, so 7 sections plus a full book recap.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait. I'm so excited to read that book, you guys. Way of Kings is the one that I get the most messages about. It's the book that, Way of Kings is the book that I see the most on TikTok of, fantasy people being like, you gotta read Way of Kings.
Yeah.
I've been waiting to read it this whole time, and I'm just, so stoked. Since book 6 of Wheel of Time, it's been the book I've been thinking about the most for this show. So I'm excited to get into it.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That's exciting.
Yeah. Michael Kioski says, we need to find the section breaks to maximize the number of people Nerdy assumes are dead. It's not an assumption if you tell me they're dead. Okay?
Yeah. They burnt alive. Well, that's unfortunate.
No, but the fucking character in Wheel of Time, I'm not going to say who it is, but they basically build up that there's the super poisonous super dagger that if you do the super poisonous super strike with, the person's going to fucking die. And the guy gets struck with the super poisonous super dagger multiple times and then is fucking fine. It drives me crazy.
I agree with you.
Yeah. And in the whole series, they're the only person that we see attacked by the super poisonous super dagger. True. And they survive. So I'm like, it can't have been that dangerous to begin with because no one died to it. Anyway, that's not the point of today. Today we're here to talk about Cell. Which is a planet in the Cosmere that has way too many fucking magic systems. Because at the beginning of Elantris, there's 5. There's 5 magic systems.
We've got the writings. We've got the forgeries. We've got the
what are the
monk dance. The Aeons.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We've got the monk dance.
Yeah.
We've got the fjordals.
Yeah.
What's the 5th one?
You're missing one.
Yeah. What's the 5th one? I'm asking.
No, I was sure there was a 5th one.
I don't know.
We got the writing. Okay, we got the Aeons.
Oh, the blood magic. The seals.
The seals. The stamps.
Wait, but the stamp, that seems like the same thing as the forgers, to be honest. Just like a subsect.
Oh, the blood sealers.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
that doesn't seem like a different magic system to me.
Maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't.
And they're very much all related because we know that the magic systems on this world are, like, dependent on physical location, which, like, the stamps are, the blood seals are, the aeons are. Mm-hmm. The dance, the yoga, that I don't know. That could be anything. And the Fjordle stuff we have literally no clue about, so...
Shim's Lady says, Brendan has said there are over a dozen magic systems on sale, more to be explored in Elantris sequels. Here's the only reason that I have a problem with it. Uh-huh. The only one. Because I wouldn't. If the beginning of Elantris wasn't about how fucking dope Elantris was because they had magic and nobody else did.
But they were pretty.
But that was the plot, right? Was that like, oh my god, we had these gods who had magic, and they're gone now. And then what you learn is that, like, oh no, everybody has their own, like, there's so much fucking magic in this world, you have no fucking clue. The Elantrians weren't that special. Well, and it's like, well, wait, what was the point of...
It's like in the essay that says, like, the other, like, continents just fucking ignored one another. So, like, you know, Shy's people may not have even known about Elantris or its people.
Well, they clearly do, because they know Fjordles. There's a Fjord in the book.
Well, and they know... Svorden.
Well, no, there's a Gjorn in this book, in Emperor's Soul.
Yeah.
So, like, they do know...
Yeah. Fuck if I know. Johnny Coleman, thank you for that super chat.
The potion that fixes Lantern, I don't know that that's magic.
Yeah, that could very well just be, like, a very convenient, like, disease. Like, you can give somebody, I don't know,
like, a doctor could reasonably, like, make your skin... If you eat enough carrots, your skin will turn orange.
I thought that was a myth.
Nope. Your skin is also actually...
Is that how I get a tan?
Yeah.
Does it just eat more carrots?
Yeah.
How many carrots does Donald Trump eat?
Okay, well, that's a spray tan. But no, if you eat enough carrots, you actually absorb the sun better, so you can, like, you don't sunburn as badly. It's, like, really good for your skin. And you get, like, a orangey glow.
Buy me carrots.
They're in the fucking fridge. What do you mean, buy you carrots? We have carrots.
I know, but we don't usually.
You write the grocery list. I asked you what I'm buying.
Since when do we write a list?
You just tell me what you need, and I go get it.
No, we walk around the house and we're like, that looks good.
When you're with me.
Oh, do you make a list for yourself?
Yeah, when you tell me you need stuff, because I will forget.
That's
How many times have I gone to the store to get something for you and come back with other things and not the one thing you asked me for? Twice. It's happened twice, but I remember both times distinctly.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I made oats for us for after book club.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
I
have a new discovery.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think I find the storytelling of Elantris just a little confused with how much, like, awe and pressure was put on Elantrians protecting Arlon from the world because they have magic. And, like, just other people have magic.
Yeah, I think it was a bit undercut.
Yeah, the world building of the beginning of that book feels a little bit undercut by everything else. And that's all I'm saying.
I'm willing to forgive, though, because that was, like, the OG story, you know what I mean? Kind of, I think, before Brandon Sanderson might have been, like, going to flesh it out. And I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But it definitely does feel like Elantris is, like, a first story.
Yeah.
And that other things came afterwards, and it was like, well, you know, don't worry about that too much. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I agree with you. They're not, like, it's not the most consistent, right?
Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
He was figuring it out.
So where do you want to start? We have 3 things to talk about today. Should we talk about the Hope of Elantris first, since it ties into the book we've already read?
Yeah. Very quick and easy. Hope of Elantris, really cute, cute. That's a interesting word for it. I feel like the reasoning behind it is very cute and sweet. The postscript explains that Brandon Sanderson, his now wife, but then girlfriend, was a teacher. One of her students brought this, like, incredibly detailed workbook on Elantris.
Yeah.
And Brandon Sanderson was, like, so touched by this as, like, a newbie writer, which I would be too. You know, like, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
Then he wrote this story about, and he named the character after the student that made
Matisse.
Matisse who, basically, with the help of Ashy, saves all of the children of Elantris from the horrors that the Fjordals try and
murder the children.
Yeah. Great story. I love that her dad doesn't die.
Dasha.
Dashy. Yeah.
The audiobook was like Dasha.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't read it like that, but that's just fine. It's a really sweet story.
Yeah, I liked it. It was cute.
Sereni is pregnant.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's your fault. And I was like, haha. Good joke. I feel like that is a joke that a lot of pregnant women make.
Well, I mean, it's good to know that despite the time in the Sheod, he is still fertile. Because the time in the Sheod like that, with the Riad, no.
Fair. You know what? And also that she had a poison, so that's fine.
Yeah, she was poisoned, but also still fertile.
Yeah.
These
good for them.
Bitches be having babies.
These bitches be fertile. Let's go. Good for them.
Raoden plowed that fertile field, and
Jesus Christ.
The fruits of his labors are growing within the loins of his lady wife.
Yeah. She also gets an Aeon, which is sorry. Yeah. Wait.
Bravery.
No, it's a Sion.
Sion, yeah.
Fucking Christ. All these names are too goddamn close to one another. I thought it was a really sweet short story.
Yeah. I wasn't I wasn't sure like what we were doing at first. And I was kind of like,
is this after?
I was like, is there some really important like thing that happens here? And then at the end I was like, oh no, it was just like filling in a little bit about what happened to the kids. It's cute.
Yeah.
I thought like the Hope of Elantris, I was like, oh, this like sets up the sequel, or like this is gonna be like some really important thing, and then it wasn't, and I was like, I put too much weight on this going in.
It was just a really sweet gesture.
Yeah, and like I didn't think about the kids when I was reading the book. Partially because I was like, I think my brain was like, they're not in the fire. Yeah. There's not a bunch of children in that fire.
Yeah, don't think about them. Yeah, I feel that. Too dark.
Too dark. And the other part that we read before we get into Emperor's Soul was the essay that we read last week. In the week since, have you had any thoughts about the essay on Cell?
Yeah. I reread it like 2 more times, and it made a lot more sense than when you did it in your fucking
Polo.
Yeah, no, that too much for me. But yeah, actually I thought it was really interesting. I think that it sets up some things and like doesn't really explain.
Yeah.
But teases at some explanations. And I actually like came to find it quite interesting. I don't really know what the fuck shards are. That's still like shards are like different like magics.
Yeah.
So you get a shard and you planet get a shard, I guess.
No, but there's 2 shards on Cell. It's disharded.
Yeah, which is like weird. That's like fancy pants. But like but we've just talked about.
You don't know that that's weird.
They say it's weird. They say
you say that it's weird, but we don't know that.
No, in the thing they literally say it is like uncommon. That it's like not like it's not weird, but like.
Oh, see, because that is written from the perspective of someone in the universe.
Yeah.
I don't trust that. Because Mistborn feels dishardic to me. Because Preservation and Ruin, and this is dishardic. So the only stories that we've read are dishardic.
Right.
And so I'm just kind of like, that is the opinion of the author of that, who is an in-universe character writing an essay.
Oh.
Not Brandon Sanderson writing an essay to us, right?
Okay, interesting.
The essay feels very unreliable narrator.
I don't trust it.
And so the fact that like I feel like both of the stories that we've read so far are dishardic planets.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know that it's that weird.
What were the 2 shards on Cell?
Trying
to remember.
I don't remember what.
But they're also dead. Like Although I guess ruin and preservation are also dead. So
the shards, the shards to me feel like they are the shards that create life. They're like the Allspark in
Dominion and
Transformers.
Thank you.
So
Kat.
at the beginning of time, there is the Allspark. And the Allspark is used to create Transformers who are created from the Allspark. But the Allspark can be destroyed. But in that, the Transformers can survive beyond the destruction of the Allspark, right? The Allspark is just the genesis of their creation.
Okay.
So as long as they continue to proliferate... okay, so here's the problem. Transformers can't proliferate without the Allspark because they can't fuck because they're robots. But
that's tragic.
Humans can proliferate without the shards to create them.
Humans can, but like the gods can't.
Right, but you don't need the gods for life to continue to exist, but you need the gods to start life.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Devotion and dominion.
Just like how we started from the Big Bang, and without the Big Bang, we would not exist. But the Big Bang isn't still happening. Oh, technically, it's still happening. That's complicated.
We're not. No. That's too much for me this morning. Cool.
Anyway, Transformers. If you want to learn about how a 19-year-old can have sex with a 17-year-old legally, watch the Michael Bay Transformers movies.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Fuck, I hate it here. All right.
I just can't believe that's a real scene in a real movie. It is one of the most offensive things I've ever watched in a theater. Code 76, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you,
with
Code.
The Cosmere, there's definitely more than meets the eye.
I'm shocked.
Transformers.
Shocked,
more than meets
I tell you.
The eye.
Shall we talk about the Emperor's soul?
Do you want to ask some of these questions first? Oh, some of them are about Emperor's Soul.
Some of them are probably about Emperor's Soul.
Some of them aren't, though. It's weird. Okay. Yeah. Emperor's Soul is a very fun short story. I think that it is, or it's probably more of a novella.
I don't know what the classification is.
It's like a short novel.
Is.
I think it's a delightful story.
Yeah.
I really like the magic system of the stamps. I think that it is... I really, really like the book.
Yeah, I thought it was a great read. I thought it was a really fascinating take on like art.
Yeah. I also think that like for a book that takes place in one room, it is very successful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It like manages to be very interesting despite never until the very end leaving like kind of one room.
Yeah.
Which can be really hard to do. I think that like even like the physicality of the book is interesting despite the limited scope of the movement in it.
Yeah.
And that to me really that was very impressive that I was able to like maintain my interest in what was the physical manifestation of this room despite the fact that she didn't leave it. Granted it changes, right? And her ability to put stamps on things to change them and the way her brain works to understand histories and stuff was fascinating.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I was really moved by it. I found it to be rather gorgeous in its own small way.
Yeah, it's not like a grand... Well, I don't know. Actually, it kind of is a grand story in terms of like an entire empire. But it like you said, it is also... It takes place in a single room, so it is kind of like a small, short story.
Yeah.
We start with Shy. Well, actually, no, we don't start with Shy. The little, like, prologue is the fucking Arbiters.
Yeah.
Plotting their little plots because the Emperor, has been... a different faction attempted to assassinate him and he got shot in the head.
Yeah.
And so his brain is broken. The resealers, which are, like, they're the doctor surgeons, but magical, they can, like, fix your wounds, but they can't, like... put your memories back in your brain.
Yeah.
So his brain, blank. Yes, brain gone. No more brain.
I love listening to you describe things.
And so the Arbiters are like, well, we have somebody in our dungeons who's really good at making shit up. So what if we get her to just make up the Emperor's brain?
Yes.
Love that for us. Or soul, if you would. wild. Reading the intro to this, the concept of it, I was like, I'm sorry, what? But I thought it was, concerning it was a short story, like, really managed to come together and, like, make sense. But when I first started reading it, I was like, this is insane. This is fucking bonkers.
Yeah. Yeah, so then we meet Shai Hulud,
yes.
who is the sandworm on Arrakis that creates spice.
Yes, this is Dune. We've been Dune.
We've been
again.
Duned!
Yeah, again.
No, we meet Shai, who is Mai Pong person.
Yeah.
Who has been arrested for attempting to replace a scepter that I'm like 99% sure she did actually replace. And also maybe stealing a painting that she did actually steal. Yeah. And so she is a forger, which means that she is able to create stamps that alter the history and reality of an object or a person.
Yes.
And her goal from the Arbiters is to create a soul stamp that they can place upon the Emperor each morning to give him a personality.
Yes. To give him his brain back.
And what follows is a long conversation in a room about what makes a person and what is art. And both of those conversations, very interesting.
Yeah.
Does it all make sense? Nope. Is that okay? Absolutely. It's a thematic piece. And if you dive too deep on the logic of it, you will destroy yourself.
I don't know. It all works for me.
I think that it all hinges on whether or not you think that you can recreate somebody, which I just don't, right? I think that even if every moment of somebody's life was dictated to you, if you could watch it all, I don't think that you could recreate particularly those early fundamental memories that create who we are, right? Especially because those are the memories that the most important elements of a person are going to be the ones that are the least written about.
Right.
The things that make me who I am come from such a deep place in my childhood that the idea...
That I don't even know.
That I don't even remember, right?
Yeah.
They're not even... And so I think that what's so fascinating is I really don't think that this is possible at a base level because of that little thing.
Okay.
Now, having said that, I forego that to enjoy this book and get into it and, you know, like that stuff.
Yeah, sure.
But
yeah, if you're willing to buy into this idea, then you can
because I really enjoy the meditation on art and on what makes us who we are that this book is about.
Yeah.
So I think like removing the impossible out of it allows me to enjoy, like...
For sure. You're like, I don't believe that this is possible, but that's not the point of... Which is totally fair.
James Ross says, would it not be just holes in your memory? We accept them all the time.
That's not really how the stamps work, because Shai is not writing his personality per se. She is literally writing his history. The stamps are the history of an object or a person in this case. And so without knowing that history, the things that make the emperor, she's kind of guessing at. For a bunch of them. And she, in a way, she works backwards, right? She gets the official reading, she gets his, like, diary, she gets all these things, and she kind of has to work backwards. And she tests a bunch of stuff, which is helpful to see if it works, because she gets it, you know, if she got it right the first time immediately, that would be absolutely fucking bonkers. But yeah, judging by the way that this magic system works, you're rewriting the history, not the, like... So like everyone would have like gaps in their memory, but the stamp still needs to have the history that made the emperor who he was today. Yeah. That seems like a crazy fucking sentence. But yeah, it was really cool. Like,
yeah, it's wonderful. And Shai's such a great character.
She's great. I love the concept of this. Like, whether or not you believe that it is possible, like, yeah, doesn't really fucking matter. It's really, really fascinating. Especially the conversation about like what art is, because Gautona is kind of Shai's antagonist in a way, where he's like
Daytona 500, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
There's 3 important characters in this book. There's Fava Beans, there's Daytona 500, and there's Shai Hulud. Those are the 3 people you need to know.
Great.
And Aardvark, the Emperor.
Aardvark?
I don't know. It's like...
Not even close. Ashravan.
Ashravan.
There you go.
Aardvark, Ashravan, whatever, same thing.
Yeah, sure, exact same thing. Gautona is kind of like her antagonist in a way.
Yeah, 100%.
He. It's funny. They use forgery.
This culture is steeped in it.
Yeah.
Literally, like the whole building is forgery.
Yeah, the whole building is forgery, but anyone who uses it without, them telling them what to do is wrong and blasphemous and blah, blah, blah. Shocking. No one's ever done that before. That's not...
But this gets into the conversation that we had in the audiobook reaction, which I want to get into.
Yeah.
Which was we don't really need to go chapter by chapter on this. It's a novella. Basically, the plot of this is that she creates this Emperor Seal. It works. And she fixes him, right? Crazy. There's a lot of discussion I want to get into. We're not completely going to skip over it.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, I said that this is a rather sad ending because despite Shai's happiness about fixing him, she is still fixing him to uphold a system that hates her, right?
Yeah.
And that is by its very nature of being an empire, like a somewhat evil system that is being upheld by her forgery. Mm-hmm. And you push back on that. Mm-hmm. But I really hold to what I said about this system. What you just said is actually a part of that reason, right? This is a system that is straight up manipulating people into using a skill set that it is judging them for having and punishing them for getting better at, right? Like there is a large group of people who have this beautiful artistic gift. It actually is very reminiscent to me of musicians in the 1500s when the church basically dictated what they were allowed to write. Mm-hmm. And you were basically not allowed to be a composer unless you were composing for the church in Europe, right?
Yeah.
And the stifled music that we got from that period because of that, and the incredible orchestrations that came from people rebelling and going and writing music outside of that system, and the punishments that they got for writing that music, right? Mm-hmm. There is this element of this empire is destroying itself by not allowing art to progress in any way, by being so stuck in the past and by being so retroactive in the way that it views the value of art. And I personally find that very destructive. I think it's a very negative thing. Mm-hmm. And what's so interesting about the book is that it presents the artist in this as someone who is a forger, who is a recreationist, right?
Yeah.
But the way that she uses her tools is actually creating new things. And that to them is the negative. The negative is new. And when the negative is new in your culture is stopped in place. Mm-hmm. And you are... That is the beginning of decline. Mm-hmm. When you are no longer... There's no room for you to continue to expand out artistically, your culture will collapse within itself. It's the problem with AI, right? AI collapse comes when AI start to create more information so that they can feed themselves, and then they hallucinate, they create wrong information, and then the AI is instilling incorrectness into itself through the funnel of AI information, and then you have AI burnout and it, drags into complete collapse.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I do think that Shai attempting to, write her greatest forgery in the Emperor's Soul, in the sense that the seal took, and it is still Ashravan in a way, but it is a version of Ashravan that is inclined towards change, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it would never have worked if those inclinations were not already there, like she said. And I think that it really speaks to the complexity of people and the turn of events that their lives take. That this is even a possibility, but she's like, what the fuck am I gonna do? I'm not gonna become emperor and fix everything, but I can instill in the person who is there just a nudge, just a desire to try and do better that was already there, and hope for the best. Because she took a crazy risk with it, because Ashravan is not the Ashravan that he was when he got shot. He is like a slightly adjusted earlier version of himself.
Yeah.
Without, life having like weighed him down. And I think it says something also about aging and why, once you get past a certain age, maybe you shouldn't be the one dictating policy for governments. Like you get stuck. You have experienced life almost too much in a way. Like, yes, you have experience on one hand, but you also have the weight of a life lived that can be stifling when reaching for change. And I think that as human beings, if the less we are changing, the worse we are.
Yeah.
And I think that it has a lot of really interesting things to say about what it what a life lived means to a person. Because like I it's something that like I worry about, like, when I'm like 45, I'm already more jaded than I was 5-10 years ago, and I'm gonna blame Twitter for a chunk of that. But like in another 10, 20, 30 years, I really hope that I can still find the hope and the positives, and not just let the like shit that life has accrued on me to stagnate me in place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that for me, I totally hear what you're saying, and I agree with you. Right? I think the danger, I don't know that the danger is necessarily getting older. I think the danger is nostalgia, right? And I say this fully as someone who acknowledges that I still love Star Wars because I loved it when I was, 4 years old.
Ocarina of Time is not a good game. It is propped up by nostalgia.
You wouldn't have Skyrim without it, but...
No, there would have been something else.
Nope. The Ocarina of Time to your favorite game pipeline is so much clearer than I think that you're willing to give credit for. 3D games owe so much Ocarina of Time. Anyway... it is a masterpiece. The danger in my mind is that like obsession with the past and with not moving forward. It is why I'm like, I honestly think one of the biggest dangers to our society right now, and this might be extremist, but I do mean it, is that the politicians who are currently in power in the United States, the world's most powerful democracy in its ability to sway other countries' behavior, right? Are incredibly dumb when it comes to technology. And we are in a point where technology... We're in a point where technology is moving so fast that what we need is people who have a modicum of understanding about technology to throw some rail guards up, right? To just do something.
Yeah.
And when you have Mark Zuckerberg sitting in a fucking Capitol briefing trying to explain how the fucking internet works at the most basic level.
Yeah. And they're just sitting there like,
and they're asking questions that are so like, it's hard as a younger person who grew up with the internet and is very aware of it, and fuck, my whole life is online, right? To not just sit there looking at this old man being like, okay, but then like, why doesn't Facebook just like fix power lines? And you're like, that's not how it works. That's not what they do. That's not what. And it is like, we live in this world where like the regulators of the internet genuinely, I don't think could possibly know how to use it. I do not think that if you gave most senators in the United States Senate a cell phone, I don't think that within 30 minutes they could turn it on, download TikTok, film themselves doing a TikTok with a sound on it, and post. Right?
Yeah.
I think that if you gave a 2-year-old a phone, there is a better than 50% chance that they can do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I genuinely, I'm like, I don't think that you could do this. And the frustration for me is like, we need people.
Yeah, we need
who are
people
willing to go,
understand.
hey, we need to put something here. We need to protect somebody.
And it's why AI has been able to fucking run rampant. Because
Yeah.
just no, they're just
there's no regulation.
sitting on their asses, not doing anything about it.
Well,
right?
and like what's so frustrating is knowing like our videos have been scooped up by them, right? Because they've whatever. My point is the danger of an empire like this, because I want to bring it back to the book, is that because I this is about the book, is that when you have a system of government where the politicians are doing anything to stay in power, including like working with a person that they think is scum that they would rather fucking murder, and that they would enjoy murdering.
Oh yeah, that they attempted to like
having that character, her pride and joy being a forgery. That while yes, Ashravan is down for change, right? He wants to try and make things better.
Yeah.
He doesn't run things. The Arbiters do. 4 of the 5 Arbiters are shit people. And this, just because Ashravan is open to change doesn't mean he's going to be open to change his mind about the people he hates, right? Which is Shy.
Well, he does meet her, right? Like I think that moment is very key, right? Because Ashravan picks up immediately on what happens. Like he gets it, and I think that it's those little moments that are not overt, but that are subtle, that are like, well, you better get out of here then. Like that give me the hope for what these actions mean for the rest of this world. And with Gautona, which I think was like the subject of a lot of our discussion in the audiobook chapter, is that how changed Gautona is from his interactions with Shy, and what that means, and what that means for his relationship with Ashravan as well, and the understanding that comes with like knowing another person that well, and like having literally lived their experiences of how they view you. Like that is a bonkers experience that I don't even know if I could like handle, right? Like
yeah, my point is only that there is it's just a melancholic ending. That doesn't mean bad. Like I feel like I feel like people are arguing with my take on this, particularly in the comments of the audiobook, as if I'm saying that because it's a melancholy ending, it's a bad ending. I'm not. I'm just saying that like there is a slight amount of nihilism with hope, but there's nihilism in this ending of her selfish joy around what she has done is like her joy, right? She does create this artistic piece. She does kind of feed her addiction of like the next big thing, right? It's the same addiction that all actors have of like needing that next project.
Yeah.
Or artists have of like the next painting is going to be the one, or composers, the next song I write is going to be the one, right?
Yeah.
That everyone will love. It is the actor meets addiction pipeline that we've written stories about forever, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a reason why there's a Club 27 for musicians who have all overdosed at 27, right? There is a addictive quality to the people who create art.
Yeah.
Because you are chasing a dragon, and sometimes that dragon is cocaine, and sometimes that dragon is your next artistic piece, and there's a...
It is the soul of the emperor.
Right, and there's a way those things go hand in hand, and you know, I think that it is so easy to view that as success because in the moment it feels so successful, but there's a destructive way that addiction can ruin the other parts of your life, right?
Yeah.
And we see that in Shy. Shy is a lonely person on the run. Like, it's not like she's truly happy at the end. She's happy that people are seeing her forgery and that she got it over on them, but this hasn't fixed any other part of her life. Her life is still kind of sad.
Yeah.
She is a wanted person in a country that hates her, that is being hunted, and she is happy because she accomplished her vision.
Yeah.
But her life isn't great. You know what I mean? It's not like there is... And that's what I mean by it's melancholic. It is sort of this sad meditation on what does this art mean to this person, and at the same time, what has this person thrown away in the rest of her life in order to create an artistic piece that will undoubtedly keep people in power who hate her.
Well, what else was she supposed to do? Die? Like,
no, I'm not
she
saying
didn't
she's
have
supposed
a choice.
Again, I'm not saying she's supposed to do something else. I'm not saying I want a different ending.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that this is a melancholic ending that we do have, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's more interesting and it gives more to talk about, right?
100%. Yeah.
If she had just like been able to like fix everything, it would have been I think, unrealistic, but also, yeah, just less interesting.
Yes. Oh, 100% less interesting.
It's it's that like hope for the future and the like. I did the best I could. I was literally thrown in a cell and I was given an option to recreate the Emperor's Soul, and I did it. And like, yes, that is selfish, but I also added like a hope for the future that maybe things will change. And I was open and honest with Gautona, who is in a position of power, who was again open to the idea of potentially changing his mind about me, and he does, and he changes his mind about like the art, and he burns her book at the end, right? He like weeps and he throws it into the fire, and like that moment
is great,
was incredible. But yeah, you couldn't have that with a perfect ending, right? You know what I mean? Like with a perfect ending.
If the ending wasn't melancholic, then that scene wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Because it would be this like, rah, look, I changed the Emperor to the point where we fixed the world. Like that ending, while more Hero's Journey-esque, right, would be blander.
Yeah, for sure.
100% would be blander.
Yeah, I think that like the idea of these seals and what forgery is and what that means for art is like so interesting. It's so cool, especially finding out that Shai was trying to remove the painting at the request of the original artist. Who was like, get my work fucking out of there for the love of God. Like, this was a gift for someone, and that gift is meaningless now that they are gone. It is...
Well, and he doesn't want it in the hands of the tyrannical empire that he hates.
Yeah. Like, I would rather my, like, masterpiece that he probably loves be fucking burned to ashes and never seen again than these people have it as, like, a fucking staple of pride. Like, yeah.
Which is very, like, reminiscent of the way in which the Nazi party hoovered up all of the... It's weird to say hoover because... Anyway, history connotations, but like hoovered up the art of the time and just stole art back to Germany. And like we are still, to this day, almost 100 years later, recovering pieces of art and trying to like return pieces of art that the Nazis stole. The British Museum at the same time, right? Like there are so many cultures that are like, can we just have our shit back, please? Like,
and the Brits are like, finders keepers.
And they're like, no, we're keeping it here so that people can come look you at it. If you would like to see your Nicaraguan art, you can fly to Britain and you can come see it in our house.
Yeah.
And it's
you don't have the resources to take care of it like we can.
There's so much art like that in the world that it drives me crazy. But it is that element of like, I would honestly rather you destroy it than make money off of it.
I'm sure some of them feel that way.
Oh, 1,000%.
Because they were fucking oppressed by the Brits who stole their shit and are still, like, gatekeeping it. Yeah, it's bonkers.
But I can also, like, I've never written a song about a lover that I'm, like, depressed about now, but I could imagine, can you imagine being, like, a famous superstar? You write a love song to somebody that you're Taylor Swift, and you write this gorgeous love song. And then you break up with that person, and you have to hear about that love song in public constantly.
Yeah. You're like, oh, God, turn it off.
Why? And you're like, I get it. He wears short skirts, I wear sneakers, whatever. I need to never hear this fucking song ever again. And it's really interesting.
Yeah. The only reason the pyramids are still in Giza is because they're too heavy to move.
It's probably true.
That's
100%.
True. Yeah. Art is so fascinating because I had never thought about the concept of like forgery and like what that would mean. Like what makes the art the art? Is the art because of the person who made it, because of how it makes people feel, because of the history behind it, because of what life led to making it?
Yeah.
Like
it is
fascinating. Like something like I truly had never really like done a deep dive on, and so I think that this piece was particularly impactful.
Oh, I agree. I think that
I feel like it expanded my horizons.
In many ways, I am anti-forgery, right? Because it's the same as AI. I'm anti-AI because you're just stealing someone else's style. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there is an element to like there's an element to the same skills as Forgery.
Yeah.
Where, depending on how you use them, it is no longer a negative, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the greatest skill sets that some artists have is recreationism, because they use it to restore glorious paintings that are starting to fall apart.
Yeah.
And in order for future generations to see them in their original glory, we need artists whose entire ability, right, is I can take something from 1,500 years ago and make it look close to what it would have been at when it was painted, so that you can still enjoy it today.
Yeah.
I think that is a gift. Mm-hmm. And because it is keeping the memory of somebody else's art alive into the future, right? It is keeping our literal history alive by restoring paintings. And so the people who are really good at that, it's unreal. Right? Yeah. Like some of the restoration art, granted, sometimes you get like that fucking Jesus painting that is still one of the funniest things in the world.
I have no idea what that is.
You've never seen the Jesus painting? Oh, okay. Wait. I'm going to show Clarice this really quick, guys. I
have no idea what you're talking about.
Jesus painting restoration. I can't believe you've never seen this.
Okay.
So someone was restoring this painting. And this is what they did.
How? How did you fuck up that bad?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, somebody got fired. That's a neckbeard if ever I saw one.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like, it's infamous for one of the worst restorations ever.
Yeah, so people who are good at that, we want to keep them around. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was doing her best.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's one of the most heinous things. It's also so cursed, like the way the mouth like drifts off the right side of the face, and the like black beady eyes with the like soulless white centers.
Yeah, it is actually an atrocity.
Yeah.
A crime against humanity. Fair, thank you so much for subscribing over on Twitch.
Fair the Tom over on Twitch says, "Hi Nerdy, loved your tears on X-Men episode 5. Oh, thank you guys. To everyone who watched that, it's one of the best videos, performing videos on that channel. So thank you so much.
Hell yeah.
I appreciate it. I cried like a little baby.
Yeah.
X-Men is a very good show. Episode 6 reaction is going up at 4 today, so enjoy that. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about Emperor's Soul before we move into the questions that the community asked?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I think that it gave me a lot to think about.
Yeah, I really liked it. I think that it is a really interesting really interesting thing. I think that because I say that it's a melancholic ending, people think that I think it's bad. I really don't. I think it's very interesting and I think it's very good. I just don't think it is. I don't think it's a very upbeat ending. There's a lot of sadness in it and pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that moment with Gautona is special.
Yeah, it's great.
Genuinely.
Daytona 500 is a great character.
On one hand, I would love like a sequel to this, but on the other hand, I'm like, I don't know, I don't know how I would feel about that because
I don't know what it would be.
Well, yeah, it's left so open-ended that I just almost kind of want to fill in the blanks myself.
Oh, thank you for the follow over on Twitch. Dice Cream Sandwich. Hey, what's up? How you doing? All right, let's get into these questions. Kayla says, what Aeon would you need to draw to make magic happen where you live? It would be the 5 Great Lakes.
Oh, the base Aeon. Honestly, probably. Yeah, if we were doing Canada, it's the Great Lakes.
If it's Alberta, it would just be the Rockies, and then you would just smear flat for like...
Yes, it would be this and this. Like, yeah.
With like a little dot for Lake Louise.
Pretty much.
Kayla also asks, who is Hoyd and what are they up to?
I don't fucking know. I literally thought it was like, just they were named the fucking same, okay?
Hoyd is an interdimensional being who is attempting to bring together a team of very unique individuals because there's a threat coming. You could say it's a
Nick Fury?
secret war.
Oh my fucking god. I don't know. Hoyd seems like they found some like black holes which look like blue pools that you can jump into. and they'll let you through if you want to be let through.
Yeah.
They're dependent on your desires.
Okay, Liz, third question is, if you could make a soul stamp, what would you change to make a useful alter ego for yourself to improve your life? Or to make a useful alter ego for you to improve your life. Yeah.
Oh, like if I could rewrite my own history.
I would create like a stamp that makes me like a sex god. Because you only need that sometimes. It's not a skill set that I need in my day-to-day.
Right, of course.
But I would have a stamp that just makes me a fucking, like, Adonis. You give me the skills of Johnny Sins.
All right.
For a moment. For, like, the time. While that stamp is on my body, I can,
it.
like... No, not to experience it. So that I'm always, like, when I'm, like, we're having
I'm
sex.
ready.
I, like, go to, like, whatever, like, my little... In my bedroom, and I just, like, rub the stamp. But it would mean that, like, I couldn't... No, because it would ruin spontaneous sex. Right?
That would be tough.
Because if you're out, I would have to carry it on me at all times in case it's like, let's go fuck in the bathroom. I'd be like, oh shit, I gotta rub some...
stamp. give me a second.
Yeah, it would be like Viagra, but for like my whole body.
No, Viagra is just to like keep it up. That doesn't make you good at sex. I want to be very clear that having a penis that's hard doesn't make you good at sex. Okay.
Arzu says nerdy's priorities. Here's the thing.
We have a smut corner.
I don't need to improve my life in a lot of ways. And my sex life is already great. So, like, it's really just that, like, I don't need an alter ego. I like who I am. I'm a fan of me, okay? I like me.
I'm a fan of you, too.
Yeah. I would create a stamp that takes away my autism to see what that's like.
You would be a different person.
It would be a temporary alter ego to try. To see what neurotypicalness is like. Oh, no, I would be not dyslexic for a bit, and I would read a book and see what that's like.
That's so I didn't even think about, like, if I could make one to just be like, what does it feel like to not have ADHD and see...
Oh, wait, no, the best one. Babe, I figured it out. I would have a stamp that I put on myself at night that takes away my insomnia and lets me sleep like a fucking baby.
That sounds pretty great.
A sleep stamp.
I don't know if you could...
I love that most of the things that I want can be solved with drugs. Viagra, they're dyslexia,
I'm saying Viagra is not the same as being good at sex. Did you not hear me?
No, yeah, you're right.
I want to make this very clear.
Ecstasy makes you good at sex.
It makes you think you're good at sex.
It makes it feel good.
Yeah.
No, you give the other person ecstasy, and then they're like, wow, you're really good at this.
I drug the person so I can have sex with them. Oh, wait.
Consensually.
Oh, wait.
I drug them consensually. I am not Bill Cosby, okay?
Jesus Christ.
Allegedly. I don't want to get sued or some shit.
If I could have a stamp that made me neurotypical temporarily, I would absolutely try that. I also like me.
Yeah.
It seems like a fucking like weird thing to say. But I also
really don't need to be an assassin. Like, I don't have any desire to have ninja skills.
Right. Like, that would not improve our life in any way. Yeah. But, like, to live a day as a neurotypical, I think would give me some really interesting perspective. Because a lot of the times, like, I'm going to say, like, 90% of the time, I'm like, I don't think I really have ADHD. Like, I'm like, I think that I'm pretty normal. I think that I function fairly normally. And then there are times
that is the like most deranged thought that you could possibly
have.
But
I don't know anything else.
Oh, I understand that,
right?
But as your husband who lives with you all the time, you're wrong. Like, you're just objectively wrong on every level.
It's partially why I've never really been like, oh, I should go in and try to medicate for it again, because I had one bad experience with it, and so I'm like, oh no, I'm fine. I live perfectly adequately, so why would I need to put myself through trying different drugs to see if maybe they
live
change
differently?
It at all? Yeah. It is one of those weird things where I'm like, some days I'm like, man, it would be nice. And then other days I'm like, but then I would have to go through that process again, and that sounds heinous.
Yeah, I will say, before we get to that super chat, I just want to say, my last thought about this is, how interesting would it be to be an actor and a forger, and you, instead of playing a character, you create a stamp where you stamp that character onto you for the duration of the show.
Well, how different would
that be method acting?
How different is that really from like making a fucking workbook and researching a character and creating them? It is a magical way of doing it, but you still have to put in the work to create the stamp. So I think that is still acting in a sense.
In a weird way, yeah.
In a weird way.
Maybe that's how Meryl Streep is so good. Judah Canizares said, thank you for that super chat. In your opinion, who's coolest? Ferrochemist, Mistborn, Elantrians, Forgers, or the other half dozen Sellish magics? Which two would you combine? I think the coolest is Mistborn, because you can just do it. I think the least cool is Forgers, because...
that takes a lot of time.
It's like, hey, I have a magic trick to show you. Give me 2 years. And you're like, all right.
Give me 2 years for this
see
magic.
See you in 2 years.
Playing the long game. All right.
I like Forgery is the one I would least want because I can't draw worth shit. Like I can't draw a straight line. But B, because I'm like, I am not patient enough to spend 2 years introspectively trying to figure out how I could have been a ninja.
That's the ADHD. I would be like, yeah, no, fuck it. I do not have the attention span for this.
The best forger on sale can't forge because they have ADHD.
Right? Yeah. They're like, can't do it.
They would be the best, but this one thing gets in the way.
I honestly think in a way that the ferrochemists are the coolest, just conceptually. But like, I would still prefer to be a Mistborn, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I have to be, so I'll be right back.
Yeah. All right. Then we'll move on to Arzu's question. You went from possibly the objectively worst Cosmere story, Elantris, to possibly the objectively best, Hugo Award-winning Emperor's Soul. How does the whiplash feel? Yeah, I feel you. I think Emperor's Soul is very good. It's like so deep and interesting, right? It is a look at because and look, this is something that like is very snobby about artists, I will admit. It's why stories about art win a lot of awards when other artists are the ones voting on those awards, is because when you're in the field of the arts, you really enjoy when other people write or make movies about the art of making art. It is like a snake eating its own tail. And it is one of those things where like I love the Emperor's Soul story. I think it's very good. I think that it is the most interesting thing that Brandon Sanderson has written. And I love Mistborn. Like, I think Mistborn is a masterpiece of a trilogy, right? I really love those books, but I think that thematically Emperor's Soul might be the most, like, emotionally complicated thing that he's written. And I stand by that. I think that it is deep in a way that I don't think that his other works that we read so far are. And so it is whiplash, right? I think that going from Elantris, a book that I really struggled with in a lot of ways, despite having fun with and enjoying, and, you know, I had a good time with it. Are you still trying to figure out how to sit on this chair?
Well, that's the beauty of it. You can sit a bunch of ways. Like, I could sit like this if I want to.
Okay. She bought a new chair, but it means that she's moving around a lot.
Look at this chair. It is a 3-tiered chair. It means I can sit like this if I want to. I can sit like this if I want to.
So in case you're wondering, my wife has ADHD and is bisexual.
I'm just like...
And so, yeah, like, I think that, like, Mistborn is my favorite Brandon Sanderson thing we've read so far, like, that trilogy. Yeah. But Emperor's Soul, I think, is the best of the things that we've read. Yeah,
it definitely made me... It's the most introspective a story has ever made me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think mostly, like, that is my own fault because I read fantasy, and a lot of the times fantasy, like...
Isn't about the process of making art.
Yeah, sure, yeah. It is so weird because I think, like... I'm, like, trying to think, like, which I would rather, like, reread first. And I actually, like, don't know. Like, I'm very curious to, like, go back and read The Emperor's Soul again.
Yeah.
Because I know that, like, how you wake up and feel that day just, like, sometimes affects, like, how you take in media, art, whatever it may be. I would love to read this in 6 months and see how I feel about it. Again. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's very good. We're in, yeah, let's disable that.
I actually am curious. I know that, like, Elantris was one of the very first.
Mm-hmm.
When was The Emperor's Soul written?
Somebody in the chat will drop that. Pilks asks, if you could transform any object permanently into a better version of itself, what would it be and why?
Permanently into... Okay.
Ooh.
Does that mean permanently, like, as in, like, actually permanently, or are we permanently in quotations because it's, like, not actually permanent?
What?
I just don't understand why permanently is in quotations.
Because it's not real, it's a stamp, but permanently.
Okay.
I would make a stamp that makes all of my controllers not have drift. I would fix all of my controllers so that my Nintendo Switch no longer has controller drift.
So you didn't have to buy any new ones ever again?
The 2013 Hugo Award. So this is like 10 years later. This is like 10 years after Elantris he wrote this.
Cool. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Or 7 years, sorry.
Object permanently. Like, I don't know. Could I, like, stamp my hair to be, like, curly and voluminous?
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, I would fix my
that.
controller drift and make my cock big and strong. Okayla says, what is a shard? I'm surprised that this question got through. A, because you already asked 3, and B, because this feels like a leading question. I don't know.
No, I think we have asked what a shard is, and we don't know.
I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
Okayla, breaking the rules to get a 4th question, and how dare you? I really don't give a shit. I don't know. God, fucking magic thing. Whatever it is, I'm not gonna guess it.
Is a shard like a piece of the Big Bang? It, like, flies off
No,
and, like,
Arzu, I know, I'm totally kidding.
Stabs a rock?
Sure. It's a creation myth. Balaz, do you want to take a stab at it? Because I don't know, man.
God was made of glass and got punched
and someone
by
cast
Satan.
Shatter.
Someone cast Shatter.
And you watch tomorrow's Dragonlance, that's going to be very funny.
And God just shattered.
No, Arzu, don't apologize. It's so funny. I'm just making jokes.
It's fine.
All right, we've seen, Belazriel asks, we've seen Aeons, Fjordal Bone Sacrifice Magic, Jindo Martial Arts, and now the Forgery techniques of the Rose Empire. What other techniques do you think are used to access magic in this world? Y'all, I have no idea. The Blood Sealers, I don't know.
Well, okay, so we know that magic in this world is tied to, like, location.
Nope. We know that one magic system is tied to location, and
well,
only
I
one.
Mean, I guess
it's the only one that is.
The essay says, but the essay doesn't know exactly, I guess.
There is one magic system that is occasionally tied to location, but is also occasionally not.
What do you mean?
The Scions are global cell phone devices that don't only work in Erelon, so
yeah,
their magic can't be set only to location.
But the Scions are literally, like, their aeons inside of them are the landscape. They all include Aeon because all Aeons have to have the original Aeon in them. So technically all the Scions do have...
But they're not the landscape they are currently in. They are the landscape of Arelon. So all the Scions work even when they leave the landscape that is within their Aeon.
Well, how do we know that Scions can, like, travel, like, across the ocean?
Because in Fjordal... there is a guy named Wern who has a Scion that he communicates through.
Well, maybe he doesn't have a Scion. Maybe he has
Tio,
the one that
there's a king with a Scion that he communicates through. And when Ash was growing up in Tio, the Scion works there.
Yeah,
and
but
Tio
they're, like, just across
Erelon.
the fucking river. I don't really count that. It's like a fucking 24-hour trip. I just meant, like, more like where, like, Shy is in whatever country this is.
We have no reason to believe that their powers are lessened by proximity.
Right.
Using Aeons is lessened, but we have no reason to believe that the Scions are lessened.
But the essay also said, what did this? It said, like, at the very end, we should mention the Scions and the, what are the other things?
Yeah.
Fuck if I remember.
The Skazadabazaz?
Yeah, fuck, I don't know. Maybe all the cartographers
But like the
are
stamps
magic.
aren't regionally based. The stamps aren't regionally based. Blood sealing doesn't seem regionally based. Shuden's fucking magic taekwondo isn't regionally based.
That one doesn't make sense to me, but like the seals being part of an object's history, that includes like where they've been.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with the magic, where the magic is being performed, right?
Oh, okay.
So like I don't know that we can say that all the magic in this world is regionally based when one of them is somewhat regionally based.
Yeah.
The Fjordal's death magic seems to work in Erelon just fine.
Yeah.
And in Tio just fine.
That's true.
The Darkcore monks don't seem to get like weaker depending on where they are.
Now, all of them definitely seem to be dependent on like physical drawings. You can't just like cast a spell with like your words. So maybe that's what kind of connects them all, is that they need to have like for some reason the specific cross sections of lines create spells.
Do you think that a Elantrian could piss in the snow and do magic by writing in the snow with his urine?
Probably.
Next question.
You just have to be really accurate.
That's the other way to access magic in this world, is to pee in the snow, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Jindo was body movement, so even that's not true. He's not drawing, he's doing fucking taekwondo.
Yeah, but when you're moving, like, you are creating lines and shapes. Like, it seems like a dance, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's a limit on my ability to call that drawing, to call that writing.
But it's the same as doing this. Like, if your body is making the shapes, whatever it is.
I just think that once you leave the I'm doing a drawing to I'm making shapes with my body, that you have fundamentally changed the basis of what is happening magically.
But like,
I think you've widened the spectrum of the magic system too much to where, well, then anything can be drawing, right? Because I'm drawing words with my tongue when I speak. You know what I mean? Like you could make the argument that that's no different, and so at that point the magic system is too many things.
I don't know. They seem very closely related to me. Just because you're drawing lines in like 3 dimensions as opposed to like.
I know, but the point I'm making is that once you open it like that, you let in too much else.
But it has to be super hyper specific, right? Like that is a part of what makes the magic powerful. Like we see Raiden experimenting with like the tip of his finger or like the flat of his thumb or even like the teeny tiniest like quill end. Like the hyper specifications of it make it feel like that using an entire body to create like maybe like aeons essentially would just have a different effect. Like they just might like manifest differently.
Sure, and they do, right? They have different effects.
Yeah.
I just think that once you kind of get away from like if you're saying like it's a writing system and they're like and dance is also technically writing, then anything can technically be. It's the problem with classification, right? Is that classification either has to be so specific that it works, or like vegetables is such a wide array that a vegetable doesn't mean fucking anything, right? Like a fruit doesn't mean anything because it's, as a classification, a bad system, but it's just something that we generally accept because we need some word for this group of things that are nominally related to each other.
Yeah.
And so, like, with the specificity of, like, the metal magic from Mistborn and how specific that is and how it works versus, well, if you do something that is akin to writing, you can come up with a magic system that, like, wouldn't you say, like, the way that we move our mouths is a very hyper-specific motion?
Yeah, sure, but it's not connected to the landscape in the same way because you can't just write anything.
But again, the landscape doesn't matter in most of these magic systems. Only in the Aeons does it. There's no mention in the entirety of Emperor's Soul that the landscape matters to the stamps that she's creating.
Yeah, but we also don't know anything about the carvings that she is making.
Sure, you can assume that, but that's not in there. There's nothing in the text that says that Shuden's Taekwondo, the Fjordal's bone magic, or the stamp magic have like regionalisms to them.
Yeah.
They're just like we could say like, well, maybe, but like it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
But that's
present.
what we're doing. We're saying, well, maybe. We're hypothesizing.
Well, what's your hypothesis?
My hypothesis is that the moving magic stuff is more similar to Aeon's than we think, because he's like moving his body in particular motions that might be connected to Aeon somehow. Maybe. Write that down as a prediction, word for word.
I see. The reason why I don't think that makes sense, though, is because Shuden is not from Arlon. So Aeons wouldn't mean anything to his body. Magic. Because it's not from the region of
that's why
Aeons.
I mean it's like different than Aeons, but it might still be connected to like the landscape somehow. I don't know anything about where he's from.
Yeah. Might be. We were supposed to come up with a new one, but we didn't. Sorry. Meg asked, do you think it was ethical for the counselors to repair the Emperor's mind through soul stamping? No.
No. Yeah.
No, I really don't. I think that it is a very unethical thing to do.
I think if someone...
Particularly because they were constantly like, hey, can you change him so that we can control him more?
Yeah. I think if someone is alive and they create soul stamps of themselves to use as a backup in case anything happens to them, then they are like consenting to it and they have a say in it. Yeah, it would be like if I became a vegetable and someone was like, I could put an AI brain in your wife from all the content she's created
Burn
online.
it to the ground.
Yeah, no. That's how you get fucking Black Mirror level shit. And it's, that episode is fucked. So no, I do not believe it is ethical. But it was a fun deep dive into the hypothesis of what this would mean.
I'll be extra controversial. I think that it was unethical for her to change him. And that she has actually done bad by reverting him to a previous version of himself. Like, if she is going to go through with what she does in this book, it is an unethical thing for her to do. For her to make that decision about his life.
I think technically, but then does it cancel out the ethics because she is trying to, like, save the Empire and make it better?
No.
Okay. I'm just asking.
No. That it would be, it's the same argument of, like, is it ethical to murder someone who is making other people's lives harder? It's not ethical. It might be the right thing to do, but it's not the ethical thing to do.
Right. So going back to, like, murder Hitler is unethical, but it is the right thing to do.
No. I don't think that murdering Hitler would do anything.
Well, that is a whole other question,
right?
But fair, yeah.
Like, and here's the whole like, oh, I'll kill Hitler as a baby. I still think the Nazi Party rises without Hitler, right? There's like the systematic change that you would have to enact in post Paris Accords Germany in order to prevent the rise of an ultra-nationalist right-wing party is not simply solved by murdering a baby.
The way you actually prevent the Holocaust is you go back and you change the crazy stipulations that were put on Germany after World War I that allowed the people to become radicalized to support the Nazi Party. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So no, I don't think that killing, like, I think that killing Hitler is I think that it would make some people feel better, but I don't think that it would actually like change. It would obviously change history, right?
Right, it would be different, but would it be better? Probably not.
But would you prevent the like right-wing backlash? No. You could kill somebody to save lives on a different scale than that, in a way that I think could be considered right, but not ethical.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
Belasriel asks, do you think that every country in this world has their own form of magic?
At this point, they might as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Fjordals have their own. Shudens people had their own.
The Jindo.
The Elantrians had their own.
Well, no, actually, you know what's interesting is the My Pong. This book says My Pawn.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounded like My Pong in the
audiobook. Yeah.
The Forgery isn't limited the way that other magic systems are. And actually, I don't think the Jindo's martial arts would be limited to just the Jindo. So I don't think it's a country thing. I just think it's a cultural thing of where you are. Which means it might be the same magic system everywhere. Just, oh god, the way these chairs are together now.
Sorry.
But Yeah, no, I think interesting. Yes and no, but like the Empire doesn't have multiple magic systems despite being made up of different countries.
Well, here's the thing. We know that there are 2 magic systems because it's 2 shards.
Yes.
Technically. Whatever that means.
Yes.
So
no. There's only 2.
So no. There
it's just
are
how are people
branches of yeah, that's complicated. I'm so sorry.
Blazer's other question is, do the moral rights of an author provide them the ability to demand the destruction of their works, like the painting in Emperor's Soul, after they've been given away and subsequently sold? No. No, they don't. In fact, I'm going to go one step further. Once you are finished with a piece of art, it isn't yours anymore. Unfortunately. Copyright-wise, it is. But art belongs to the beholder and not the creator.
Yeah. Once you put something out in the world, it is there forever, much like the internet.
Yeah.
I
don't think that you have the moral right, especially if you sold the painting. If it's stolen from you, it's different. But if this painting is legally sold,
they buy the rights to it.
Then no, you can't just be like,
if you were
I understand why he wants it. I get it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, if it's legal, if you legally sell a painting and they're like, actually, I don't want that to exist, it's tough shit. You sold it.
Yeah, I think with the exchange of, like, money or goods or whatever it is, that is a different case. But, like, if someone were to create art that was, like, gifted...
No, you still give... It's not yours anymore. Like, you gave that to somebody.
Yeah, I just mean, like, I don't know. I just mean, like, if you were to give a piece of art to somebody and be like, hey... when I'm gone, or like when you're gone, like make sure that this is destroyed. This is for you alone, like.
Yeah, if you stipulate that when you give it to them, yeah, that's.
And then if you like, I think if you dismiss those wishes, I mean, I don't know about morality, but you kind of suck as a person.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But no, I think that like art is made and then it exists.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that destroying any art is sad.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the author wants it destroyed. I think that once your art has changed the culture in some way, it should continue to exist as an explanation of how you change the culture. It's why like it's why like the work of Michael Jackson is so complicated to me, right? Because Michael Jackson is a difficult figure because of how he lived his life. However, it is undeniable that modern pop music exists in the fashion that it does because he was the most famous person on the planet who created the most influential pop music ever, right? We simply do not have the music that we have today without his work.
Yeah.
And to deny that is crazy, so don't even try. If you try and make an argument that Michael Jackson was not influential to the pop industry, that would be one of the craziest statements you could possibly make. And for that music to, if we were to like get rid of it because of the allegations and, you know, everything that happened in his personal life,
yeah,
we would lose on the history of how music got to where we are now, which would be, in my opinion, a detriment to culture. And so we kind of have to live in this space between understanding that what he did was wrong and also understanding that what he created what we create now.
Yeah.
And both of those things have to be true, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't make it easy sometimes. It doesn't mean that I like gravitate towards putting on Michael Jackson the way that I used to.
Yeah,
but
it feels different.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like I have still enjoyed some of his songs, but they are different now. Like I feel differently about them because of it all, and I guess that's part of art in like a weird way.
Yeah. Ember Eyes, thank you for joining. What are your thoughts on people asking for their unpublished work to be destroyed after their deaths? Absolutely. If it was never released publicly, I don't want people putting out shit that I didn't think was ever finished. If I like J.R.R. Tolkien's son keeps putting out books that he wrote that he didn't put out, and I'm like, no, he doesn't. That stuff's not done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's rough. I agree. I think that if someone has not presented something to the public eye, like that would be like that would be like if Betty White died and we literally like presented all of her like underwear on a fucking clothesline for people to see.
I don't know that it would be like that.
I think it would be it's a weird
It would be more
thing.
like, but to go with the Betty and White thing, it would be like if they're like, oh, Betty White died, let's make a movie out of takes from movies that we never used. And we'll just throw out something
weird.
to make money off of her likeness.
But even
because that's what that is, right?
Even that, she consented to like filming. She was on set for things. I mean, like stuff that like she did, like that was in her private life. Like it would be weird. I think that would be really fucked up. Honestly.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think that I think that unpublished stuff is fun when the author wants it out. I don't think it's fun when the estate of an author or the family of an author is trying to continue to make money off of them after they are dead.
Yeah.
I find it very capitalist and gross.
Yep.
Meg asks, if you were an Elantrian, whose group would you have joined? Except for Aiden's.
Whose group? Oh.
Oh, I would have been... I would have not joined a group.
You just would have been... I'm just going to go find a corner and...
Oh, yeah, I would have done what Galadon did. 100%. I don't like people. You think I want to be in a group?
That's fair. Probably Karada.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah. I don't even like children, but I would just been like, this gives me a task. This gives me some kind of small purpose.
Yeah, I would have found a dark corner of Elantris to be alone.
Fair.
And I would have loved it.
I'm happy for you. Chloe asks, should I explain the difference between the spiritual, cognitive, and physical aspects of an item? And the essay on Cell mentioned the same with regard to realms. Do you have any thoughts on how elements of Mistborn might be related to those? Well, I'm going to assume that... Oh my god, why do I keep forgetting his name?
I'm assuming the feruchemy shit is moving your memories into the cognitive realm of the metal that you are moving them in, right? So, like, when you get into, like, the cognitive realm, all of the feruchemy powers that the feruchemists store is stored in the cognitive realm of that object.
Okay.
And that's how that power works. That's the only thing I can come up with right now, but I think that's what I got for you, Chloe.
I keep forgetting his name.
Who?
Who becomes God at the end.
Sazed.
I'm like, shoot it.
How
no. I know.
Dare you.
I know.
He died for our sins.
He's not dead. I think that Sazed exists in the spiritual realm now. Like, I think that they're, like...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
see
that's
how...
where Vin and Ellen are just fucking each other constantly.
In the spiritual realm, yeah. Basically...
And Sazed's trying not to watch.
But he sees everything. He knows when you're awake.
The Read Cradle campaign. I love that people want us to read Cradle so much there's now a campaign. If using Aeons for fire and light, could one make a man-sized hole on a wall? Well, now I'm not reading Cradle, so good job. Good work. Yeah, you could fucking... Yeah, the Aeons are fucking magical. They're not fireworks in a stone wall. But of course you could use fucking magic to blow a hole in the wall.
Fireworks are pretty magical. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they're really pretty.
Arzu asks, the magic of Cell seemed to all take years of effort and study in the case of those monks sacrificed to Master. Do you think it's worth it, or do you prefer magic to be more instantaneous? I don't know. I think that magic... I think that all magic takes time to master, right? Like, even, like, Vin and Ellen to have that conversation of, like, Ellen is very powerful as an Allomancer in Mistborn, but he is not as good as Vin because she is so practiced at what she does.
Yeah. Yeah, his, like, raw power is more, but...
I don't know any magic system where you're just good immediately. That's boring. I think that, like, there has to be some level of learning and, like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. If you're just, like, great at it immediately, then it's...
Yeah, like, I think that all of them need effort. I think the effort is what makes life worth it, right? Like, I think that my career in musical theater was worth it because it took me years of work to get to the point where I felt comfortable on stage. And so, yeah, I don't want anything to be instantaneous in life. I find that when things are instantaneous in life, There are things that I am good at that I could probably make money at, but because they come to me naturally, I don't want to spend my time doing them because they're easy. And so I would rather do things that are a little bit harder because they feel more worth it.
Yeah. Now, in terms of like magic, regardless of skill level being a factor, if you were good at magic, like, would you rather a system that takes like years to cast a ritual spell or like is instantaneous?
Oh, in that case, yeah. If instantaneous in that case, because I'm not going to spend years to cast a spell.
Yeah, I don't have the patience for that.
There's just too much life to be lived.
I will get distracted and find something else before I finish spell number 1.
But also, I live a life without magic, and I'm pretty happy. So the idea of like spending all my time to cast a magical spell to get ninja skills, to me is like, or I could just like take a Taekwondo class and spend time with people.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
You didn't like people though.
Not all the time, but like 1 hour a week I could handle.
Yeah.
You know, I like this show on Fridays.
You guys are all right.
I like D&D on Saturdays. I have like a few. I've got like people in my life.
I know. I just don't want the previous question
to like live in a commune where I'm with people all the time.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I don't like apartment buildings because there's too many people all the time. I hear them in the walls.
Oh, that you should get that checked out.
No, it's
if
the
they're
apartment
in the
building.
Walls.
Well, I hear it. Oh my god.
I don't. That your apartment is haunted.
I'm
at that
still
point.
mad at you about last night.
Why?
Shim's Lady asks, you mentioned loving the concept of Elantris, if not the execution. How excited are you to know that a leveled up Brandon is going to write a follow-up Elantris sequels after he drops Stormlight 5 at the end of this year? And that it will be all outlined and written before publication like Mistborn. Thoughts? Don't care. I don't have any interest in anything else in this world.
No thoughts.
No, I just don't. I think that Elantris is the story that it is. I think Emperor's Soul is the story that it is. They're both good. I don't have any desire for more in this world. Same with Mistborn. Like, there's a whole Mistborn era too that I'm excited to read. I have no real desire for it though. I'm not like, oh, I want more in that world. I think the story's already what it is, and I like it. It feels done, and so I am hopeful that Mistborn Era 2 starts in a way where I want more in that world. Because right now I'm good. I'm very happy with the story.
Right, yeah, for sure. I think that, like, a follow-up Elantris would take place in, like, almost a different time period.
Yeah, it's just going to be something else.
But I do really love the idea of how Elantris works and the magic system of the Aeons. Like, I actually am excited to feel like I can understand how that world functions a bit more.
I personally, like, I'm of the mind of, like, when you finish a story and it's just done and you have a good ending, I don't need more. Like, look, I love that I get more Star Wars. I do. I really enjoy Star Wars. I could also be done. Like, there's plenty of Star Wars that I enjoy, and I'm down. I think that sometimes we get so caught up in, like, sequels and prequels that we lose out on what is so joyous about a new story, which is what's fun about book club, right? Like, Wheel of Time was a new story for us. Mistborn was new. Aragon wasn't, but I like new things. I'm a fan of new projects. I am more interested in what Brandon Sanderson's new world is than I am in him going back to Elantris.
Fair.
If he wants to write Elantris, I'm going to read it because I think that he writes really well, right? But so it's not a matter of like I don't want him to write Elantris 2. I just don't have a specific desire for it because I think that story finished in a way that I was happy with. I like the ending of Elantris a lot, right?
Fair.
I like the ending of Mistborn a lot. I don't need anything else from that world.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm glad that Era 2 is hundreds of years later, and it is just a new story with different people. Because sometimes I feel like we get caught up, Star Wars especially. Like, I'm so excited for The Acolyte because we're getting away from the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
And we are getting, like, it's Star Wars, it's going to be some things I'm familiar with, but, like, I don't know any of those characters from the trailer. And I love that. I don't want Yoda to show up. I mean, it would be fun to have him cameo, but I don't want Yoda to be an important part of it because I want new things.
Yeah.
I want, like, fucking Helldivers 2. Yes. Is it Starship Troopers? Yes. But it also feels new. And it is a video game in a style that I'm loving because it is a new experience that is taking me to a world that I've never played in before, right?
Yeah, we talk a lot about, like like franchises and remakes and like like everything has to be interconnected and related to blah blah blah, and like I would love brand new worlds and characters and things to fall in love with.
Yeah.
I don't need another remake of this thing that I've already seen in a different way. Like I do enjoy things that are like, we're gonna make a new thing, new IP, new this, brand new for you to fall in love with, because I think there's a bit too much of remakes or tangentially related to things that it's just it's a lot.
Well, and I think that like it's why like right now like Shogun, I've never read the book, and so Shogun is this very new story to me that is wonderful, right?
Fair, yeah.
Fallout, neither of us have played the games,
so
and so we're watching the show and we're like, we're being introduced to something, and I think the value of introducing people to a new world is something that like all of these companies seem scared of.
Yeah.
But when they do it well, it's so successful.
They don't want to fucking put in the work.
I know. It's tough.
Like,
they don't want to trust artists anymore. They want, like... It's because of shareholders, right? The problem is not the writers. And people keep blaming the writers, and it isn't the writers. The problem is shareholders are mandating a way that art needs to be created that is counterintuitive to good art.
Yeah. 100%.
And it's so frustrating because people are like, oh, these writers are bad. And I'm like, you don't know what actually goes on behind the scenes anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know that there's some guy who's like, well, if we put in this gay character, our stock price will dip 0.2% and we will lose $1 billion, and so you can't do that. And you're like, okay, well, we tried. And it's like,
yep.
It's either we take out the character or everybody loses their job. So I don't know what to do, you know?
Yeah.
Or in Disney's case, like, we put the gay character there, but we make them as vague as possible so that it can play in China. Because if we're going to have a $200 million budget, we have to be able to make $600 million worldwide. And so it's literally just math is killing artistry.
Yep.
In a way that's so fucking sad, but is the reality of it.
Yeah. Pills asked, if you had to use one Celish magic system, which would you use?
Elantris.
The
Aeons, yeah.
Yeah,
I get to be silver and hot.
Fair. I don't really know enough about the like dance to understand that. I do not have the patience.
It's very violent. I don't need to fight. I'm not a fighter.
Sure, yeah, and I don't have the patience to be a forger. I 100% would use Aeons.
Yeah, Aeons. 100%. I get to live forever. I get to be hot and silver. I get great hair.
Yeah, right.
And I can like
you get to become a Targaryen.
I can have whatever food I want, no matter what ingredients I have in the house.
Fair.
I can turn my literal garbage into food.
Yeah, you know what? I'm craving some apple pie.
Yeah.
Oh, apple pie. Shane, thank you so much for 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Shin. Appreciate that.
Hell
Welcome in. Rob Ross Pooh Bear says, it's been 9 years since I last read this book. Do you think I judged this book too harshly? Yeah, it's pretty good. Emperor's Soul's pretty good. Unless you're talking about Elantris, then no, you didn't judge it too harshly.
It's been 9 years since I read this book. Do you think I judged it? I don't know what your judgment is on it.
Emperor's Soul is very good. Elantris is fine. Arasuianu says, who wins in a fight? A full-powered and knowledgeable Elantrian or a mistborn ferochemist? Say it's a duel with a time and place with an opening bell on a football field. In Elantris, the Elantrian. Anywhere else, the ferochemist.
Well, yeah, because the ferochemist can store... Like, if you set a time for this thing, you can be like, all right, I have X amount of time to store up.
I think it depends on where in the world. Because if it's not in Elantris and the Elantrian's powers are lessened, then I'm going to go ferochemist. But if it's full power Elantrian in Elantris, I'm going to go Elantrian.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we've been told that, like, being in Elantris makes a big difference. So I think that you're right.
Yeah.
Tart Monkey asks, the power on Scadrial is derived from metal. Scadrial is Mistborn?
Yeah.
We learned from the essay that the power on Cell is related to language.
Not really. That's not true.
I mean, the guy kind of inferred, like, said, but like you said, we don't know
but,
how much he knows.
But, aren't language. Aeons are
they
drawings
that is how they,
geography.
Yeah, but
that's
it is
not,
also
that is
their
not
language.
the same thing as... But they derive... Okay.
No, but did the language
but this
come
gets
first?
into the same thing of, like, okay, but then everything is language.
Yeah, I mean...
If drawings of the literal land are language, then everything is language, and then what are you actually drawing your power from?
What came first, the language or the language?
The language or the land.
I don't know. What other basic?
And if dance is language, then again it's like anything is language.
Well, dance
and then
is
anything can be magic.
A language by a lot of people.
It's opening the door a little bit too wide. You know what I mean? But then why can't then speaking would be magical? If it is specifically language, then it would be speaking.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
Yeah, is it the act of communicating that is magical?
And this is the problem with no, it can't be language, because the aeons, the meaning of the aeons from a language perspective did not change when the chasm appeared. The land changed, but the language didn't. It wasn't like the chasm appeared and then Raoden was like, I can't read aeons anymore.
We can't
The
communicate.
language has changed. The language is fundamentally still the same whether the chasm is there or not. And so it cannot be a language-based power, or else that's not how that works. The language is still intact, whether the chasm is there or not.
Yeah. Yeah. What other basic concepts are the other magic systems going to involve?
Oh my god. Okay, there's going to be a cum planet where it's all just the magic of seminal fluids and like women squirt. There's
okay.
There's going to be a sign language planet. That one's really fun. Although actually
isn't that
sign language?
You're like drawing aeons.
Well, no, that's not what sign language. You don't draw sign language in the air. That would be insane.
Well, I bet you could.
No one would be able. If you started to do this with your hands, no one would be able to fucking read it long term.
Why? It literally draws lines in the air. You could literally read it.
That's only on Elantris, though.
Fair.
Only Elantrians could. That's a sign language only Elantrians would be able to do. So, John Schmidt says, I tend to agree. Cell seems more art or interpretation than language. I agree with that. Art and interpretation, I would say, makes more sense than calling it language, but then when the language doesn't change, the language doesn't work anymore? That doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. No, like a sign language one, but can you imagine, like, a world... Okay, wait, this might actually be a story. A world that is based on sign language goes to war, and there's a bunch of amputees who can no longer communicate.
Jesus. Okay.
What do you do in that world, right? How do you continue to exist in a world based on sign language where you no longer have the ability to do sign language?
That sounds awful.
It's an interesting idea, right?
It's a world with no sound.
Well, it gets into it would be an interesting... I don't know that I could write it because I don't know that I have enough experience with the idea, but I think that if you were to get someone who is a veteran of a war to write about it from the perspective of what it is like as a veteran to return to society post-war,
yeah,
I think that it would be a way to get into the theme of that like veteran returning home experience in a really physical and really like easily understandable way to the audience. Because you literally can't communicate anymore because your entire system is based on using your arms.
Yeah.
And you don't have them.
Yeah.
Or what does it mean to have a left hand and be somewhat able to communicate? Some people, who only lose one hand are able to communicate a little bit, but not fully, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, in this society, what would it be like for them? It's an idea. And you know what? It might be what The Way of Kings is about. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know anything about it.
I know nothing about The Way of Kings except the lead character name starts with a K, and that's literally my entire knowledge of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That is more than I know.
Yeah. I know that his name is K. I don't know.
I have a feeling that on
it's K from Men in Black.
I have a feeling that on one kind of planet that like the sound vibrations will be a magic system. Because that's like pretty like tangible to be able to like manipulate.
Okay.
Like whether or not they're different pitches, like because like sound waves you can literally like adjust in pretty much any way. I think that sound.
Oh my god, it's the singing planet from the Marvels.
Yeah. But better.
Dearly beloved, we gather here to say our goodbyes.
Sound is absolutely going to be one of them. And
food magic.
That's what I was saying.
There's going to be food magic.
Where it's all about taste. We're going through all the senses.
There's going to be a planet of smell magic where people deliberately don't bathe so that their magical powers are enhanced by their aroma.
Couldn't do it.
And women wear like different perfumes for different magical abilities.
Couldn't do it. Sean.
Keishan.
It's always
Keishan
fucking
Derulo.
Sean. Jesus Christ.
Okay, where are we in this? I don't even know. We've been introduced to 4 shards so far. Dominion, Devotion, Ruin, and Preservation. How many shards are there? There are
16.
65 shards. There's actually 4 secret shards, though, so the secret number is 69.
69 shards!
But Brandon Sanderson, in his early career, was uncomfortable joking about 69ing, and so he said that there were 65, knowing that one day he would have the sexual prowess to discuss 69ing in public.
Wow, I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
You know what? I appreciate that.
What are they called? Okay, name the 65 shards. We have Dominion, Devotion, Ruin, Preservation.
Uh-huh. You've got... Schadenfreude.
Ooh, I like the planet where all the magic is based on feeling happy that other people are suffering.
So then what's the opposite of that? Empathy?
Empathy?
You've got Schadenfreude and empathy.
Okay.
Those are the other 2. You've got coincidence and forethought.
Okay.
Yeah, that works. Coincidence and forethought.
One of the shards is kryptonite.
Kryptonite and mercury.
Okay. Those are just metals.
Yeah.
But sure.
Yeah. One is a liquid.
Conspiracy and coincidence. I like that one. Butterscotch.
You've got caramel and butterscotch.
One of the shards is the radioactive spider that bit Spider-Man.
Actually, no. It's you've got Buttercup, Bubbles, and Blossom. That's a tri-shardic planet.
Terrigen.
Terrigen?
Yeah. What's Terrigen from?
Couldn't tell you.
It is the mists that create Inhumans in the Marvel Universe. All right.
Oh no, I'm liking this. I like coming up with words. You've got the penultimate.
I like coming up with words.
You've got the penultimate and the original.
Demetrios asks, I am very keen to the phrase, once is an incident, twice is a coincidence, thrice is a pattern. Between Mistborn and Elantris, which elements do you perceive as mere coincidences, and which do you believe signify patterns that will recur in upcoming books within the Cosmere universe? Well, I think we're going to see Hoyt again.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. Unobtainium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that slavery's going to come back somehow.
What?
Because it does seem like Brandon Sanderson can't stop writing about it.
Well, at least we seem to be on the same page about it.
Yeah, I would like a fantasy book that doesn't make that a plot point. I just want one.
The Emperor's Soul didn't.
I mean, kind of. But she's kind of a slave in that whole scenario.
She's a prisoner, yeah. She, committed a crime, technically, so...
That does not make that better. I'm no more comfortable with the indentured servitude of our prison system than I am with slavery.
But
I think that they're both bad.
They were gonna let her go.
She escapes when they were going to murder her.
Yeah.
To say she leaves is the overstatement of the fucking
keep her
century.
alive forever, you know. Doesn't matter.
Female protagonists who are surprise, they're good at fighting. I have a feeling that this keeps happening in Brandon Sanderson's book. I think that Brandon Sanderson writes a lot of very special girls who use their magic.
Serene's very good at fencing.
Yeah.
Although, here's the thing. Shy is not a good fighter. She just can magic herself to be a good fighter.
Oh, sure. Vin isn't a good fighter unless she uses her magic abilities to be a good fighter. Yeah, of course. I'm not fucking saying that they're, naturally good fighters. I just mean, he likes the hot, thin girl who whips out her magic fighting abilities. That is
Why is this... What is it about being thin?
Because they're all... Well, except Serene. Serene's not. Serene's, tall and, large. But, Brandon Sanderson likes the, oh, she's so waifish and petite. She can't do anything, and then, badoom.
I don't know if Shy is ever described as being petite. She's short, for sure.
Yeah, she's small.
Uh-huh. but he's never like, she's so thin.
Vin
is the only one who is thin because she's a fucking beggar at the beginning. Like, and once you establish where you're...
the description of shy felt like there was an element of I think that it was maybe it was like me putting it on her, but it felt like she was described as being particularly petite.
Yeah, no, I definitely read short. Like, that is made pretty clear, but... I
feel like...
But that's also in comparison to the Grands, who are particularly tall, so I actually don't know if she is that short. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You take that back. My girl Vin doesn't need no stinking magic to fuck you up.
To fuck me up,
yeah. Because she's, like, magically... My point is... I don't hate the trope. I'm not against it. I just feel like Brandon Sanderson likes to have a female character who is hot and knows how to fight, and surprises.
Is like, I want a woman who can beat me up,
and surprises the male characters with their fighting ability at some point. That's just, it's happened 3 times.
And that was the question. Is that
you guys are asking what I think is going to keep coming back? I think that like
pattern.
The hot lady who you're like, oh, they're so cute, and then they're like, and you're like, oh fuck.
Goddamn. We love a woman who can take care of herself.
I think that's going to keep happening. I think Brandon Sanderson likes it. I'm a fan. I'm not saying it's a negative.
Yeah, no, we also like it.
I'm just saying I think it's going to keep happening. Bogdan Danbog says, what is your opinion of evil, TM? I don't know what
evil,
you mean.
Bad.
Evil doesn't exist.
Maybe evil is another shard.
Oh. Is there a planet that's literally got good and evil as the magic systems?
Yeah, maybe. That could be. Although it seems like far more complicated than that. It has like 4 likes on it, that question. So I'm assuming that this is like an inside joke of some kind that we will understand later.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Some of these questions are just trying to get us to know that you guys know shit about the Cosmere that we don't. And like, I get it, but...
I find it very funny.
Evil doesn't exist. It's a myth.
Oh.
Yeah, there's no such thing as being good, and there's no such thing as being evil. There is only doing your best. And
evil
doing your
is
worst.
actually a company in the Way of Kings. It's like every villain is legitimate, and it's like a union.
Yeah, there's no such thing as evil. It doesn't exist, right? It is a narrative concept to try and get us to understand what we think is wrong about the world.
Well, I don't know. I think things can be evil.
Nothing is inherently evil.
Murder is evil.
Murder is not evil. Inherently.
What do you mean?
It just isn't. There's plenty of murders that I
agree
with.
The act of taking away the potential of another human life
is sometimes justified.
It's still evil.
I don't think...
Justified evil, but still evil. Like, the act of murder is in of itself evil. Sexual violence is always evil. Yeah.
It's always wrong. I don't know that it is... I don't know that it is evil in, like...
Evil and wrong are, like, pretty closely synonymous.
Yeah, I guess I mean, like, the, like... I sometimes worry that we use evil to almost apologize for the behavior of people who have done wrong, right? As a, like, oh, well, like, the evils of the world... Yeah, you're right. It is semantical, Steve Zito. I think the point that I'm making is that evil exists... It does exist, but it exists because of the choices that we make. It does not exist without our choices. And so there is no such thing as naturally occurring evil. It has to be enacted upon it. Like evil exists in our actions, but not in the world. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I don't think that there is evil without
humanity.
No, but literally, I don't think that when an animal kills another animal, it's evil.
Sure.
Right? I don't. I think that intention can be evil, but I don't think action can be evil.
Interesting.
Right? Because I don't. I think that you can have sex and it not be evil. But if you have sex without somebody's consent, you have the intentionality of that sex is evil, not because the sex is bad.
Yeah.
But because of the way that you are putting that on somebody else is bad. I think that if somebody and I always use this case to bring it up, but like that girl who killed the guy who was sex trafficking her.
Yeah.
I will go on to the stand and say that she is one of the best people on this planet. You murdered a terrible person, and I will never judge you for that murder. And if God judges you for that murder, I don't trust in that God. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I can't get with that God. That God is wrong. That woman did the right thing killing the guy that was sex trafficking her. Mm-hmm. And the fact that anyone thought that she should be convicted of it is wrong. So the act of her killing him is not evil. His act of sex trafficking her was.
The idea that evil doesn't exist without humanity is one that I can...
Not necessarily humanity, but it doesn't exist without sentience.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think that when a lion kills a fucking elk, that it is evil. Right? That is...
An antelope.
Sure,
I don't know that elk live... It doesn't matter. Sorry.
And so, and that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I think that like the action itself cannot be considered evil. It is only the intention of the person who's committing the action that can be. Is I think where I come down on it.
Okay.
But I don't think evil occurs naturally. I think that it comes from, from our understanding of morality. Like you can't if you come from a culture that has no concept of morality, then I don't think that you can be evil because you have because there's no.
But is morality a cultural thing or is it a human thing?
I'm saying that like I'm saying cultural because I don't want to say that like an alien species that's not human but has a similar sentience to us couldn't be evil. They could in the same way that we can, but in a way that a dog can't. Like dolphins can be evil because they're smart enough to know that what they're doing is wrong.
Right.
But a dog isn't. But dolphins rape people, and that is wrong.
Yeah.
And dolphins know that it's wrong.
Yeah, that is insane to me. Dolphins are fucked up.
Knowing that Kelsier is on Fortnite, which other random game cameo would you like to see with the Cosmere characters?
That was part of the scene. I was like, that is evil? I was literally like, I'm sorry, what?
Knowing that Kelsier is on Fortnite, which other game cameo? Oh, the killer whales that are destroying billionaires' yachts? Not evil. It's destruction of property, but it is the right thing to do. Knowing that Kelsier is on Fortnite, which other random game cameo would you like to see with the Cosmere characters? I mean, the only one I really want is Vin, right? Like, I would rather have Vin than Kelsier.
Ashe. Just a little Sion. Just a little glowing
just following you. It's one of the backpack things.
No. You can be a Sion and you can basically become invisible by dimming yourself all the way.
Ooh, the best Fortnite strat.
Yeah.
But you can't hold guns, so you just have to hope that they get killed by the storm.
You just have to fucking hide. Yeah. Fortnite.
Yeah, Vin. Evil. It's Vin for me. I want to play as Vin. I don't want to play as Kelsier. I want to play as Vin. She's my girl.
Valid.
Yeah. Or an Inquisitor. It would be really fun to play as Marsh and have the like steel spike eyes and. It would be a cool image
terrifying.
for Fortnite.
Yeah, I hear you.
Pilk says, how do you feel about essays on the scientific systems behind magic systems? I don't
know yet.
Care about them that much, to be honest.
I
am interested in magic as a narrative for theme and storytelling. I really don't care about video essays about people explaining how the Force works in Star Wars. It's not the point. And when it becomes the point, you start to lose me.
I actually find it fascinating to see how people try and justify magic.
But that involves people. Again, like it's
but it's an essay.
Right, but the reason why I like this essay for Cell is because it's from the point of view of an in-universe character. But if it was just Brandon Sanderson writing an essay about how the magic system works...
Oh, no, boring.
I don't care.
Yeah, no, boring. Don't care about that. In-universe characters talking about it, fascinating. I went back and read that essay another 2 times, right? Like, I was like, okay, this has got some cool shit to it. Yeah. No. If it's not in-world, like, if it's, like... no, fuck that.
If I can't read your book... and understand how the magic works from the perspective of the characters in your world, and you need to give me an essay to explain it, you fundamentally failed at your job.
Oh, yeah, no. If the essay is essential for understanding how it works, I don't want it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But, yes.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement on this.
Yeah.
Demetrios says, many consider The Emperor's Soul to be the best story in the Cosmere. That's wild. Largely due to Brandon Sanderson winning a Hugo Award for it. That's fair.
Yeah.
The immense selling success of his subsequent works, Memory of Light, Stormlight 2, Secret novels, may have resulted in fewer nominations and awards for him. What's your opinion on the quality of this novel? It's very good.
It's quite good. Like I said, I think that like the best art pushes people to think about things. Like the end of Mistborn did for me, which is why it made me cry. And I don't do that often. And same with The Emperor's Soul, is that it made me think in a way that like I hadn't previously. I think it's top tier. Truly like top tier. Would recommend pretty much to anybody.
It's a beautiful meditation. It really is. It's very moving. And the characters are, for how little you kind of get of them, particularly like Afava, who's barely in it, I think that there's so much depth to all of them in a short amount of time. It's cool stuff. Yeah. But also, like, it's done. Like, I don't want more, weirdly. I don't want to know what happens to Shy after this. Yeah. Yeah. This is the perfect moment of her life to witness as a story. I'm good, you know? Yeah. Demetrius also asks, adding to the question, Elantrian versus Mistborn Fairchemist, if Rashek were to lead an army comprising every human in Luthadel sometime before the end of Book 1, along with the Terrace, Kandra, Koloss, and Inquisitors, would they have the capability to conquer Sel?
If Rashek were to lead an army?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I mean,
they would
like,
fucking crush it. Are you kidding me? The fucking Mistborns would destroy this planet.
There's not really a lot of instantaneous magic on Sel.
There's not really any. Like,
yeah, so I think that they are at a total disadvantage.
A Mistborn would wipe out all of Elantris by themselves. One coin shot could wipe out Elantrians. By the time you finish drawing fucking
there's a coin through your head.
There's 25 coins through everybody around you. Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine trying to block a coin flung at your body by drawing a fucking magical symbol in the air? Like, you're not doing shit. You don't even need Mistborn powers. You just need coin shots. Coin shots alone. I don't think people understand how fast those coins must be moving to pierce the human body. You know what I mean? Like, in order to be going through bone, terrifying. Those coins are fucking firing.
Terrifying.
Elantrians have to draw magic symbols like. Yeah. Especially, okay, if the people on Sel had years to train as haze killers, then maybe. Maybe. But, like, the idea that you would be able to block Vin by quickly drawing symbols there's no way.
She's already there, especially with Duralumin. Like,
and with Pewter, she's already moving faster than human speed. Right? So, like, even if you're Raoden and you're the fastest drawer of Aeons, like, we're talking about people who are moving like the fucking Flash at you. Yeah. Throwing coins at you. Like, literally, like, launching metal at your body at a speed you can't fucking keep up with. And your defense is, okay, so I have to draw the top line, and then the side line, and then I have to do the circles over here, and then I have to add the chasm, and then I have to add what the actual fucking Aeon is. There's no way. You're fucking dead. Yeah. Elantrians are fucked.
Yeah, based on what we know of at this point, Sel would be fucked. Yeah, absolutely fucked. Yeah. Rasmianu asks, what would it take for you to destroy a masterpiece work of art?
I wouldn't.
If the original person asked me to do it, I would probably do what Shy did. I wouldn't have the means to it. If they were like, hey, I gave this as a gift to somebody and they fucking sold it to the people that I hate.
Yeah, I wouldn't destroy it. Because I understand they're upset in that moment, but it is part of the culture and it exists. And I think that getting rid of it would be... I don't believe in burning books. I don't believe in destroying culture. I think that culture is to be preserved as much as possible. And I think we already do such a bad job of preserving our own culture that the idea that I would destroy it, I wouldn't. I think that the true works of art and for what they mean to generations of humanity, if you told me like, oh, you've got to destroy the Sistine Chapel, it's like, no, I'm not a religious person, but the Sistine Chapel is too important to our cultural history to me to blow it up. Or the same with mosques in the Middle East.
What if the Sistine Chapel was a thinning in the veil and monsters were pouring through.
It's gonna make no sense anyway, but what would I don't know, what would I do in that situation?
Well, if destroying the chapel,
if I have to destroy the chapel
lives,
to like save a baby, yeah, I'll destroy the chapel to save a baby.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So that's
like,
what it would take.
I'm not gonna
save a baby.
But like I wouldn't do it for money. There would have to be literal lives in danger, and I would have to. It would literally have to be a situation where it's like you either have to blow up the Sistine Chapel or watch these children die. And in that case, yeah, I would do that because in my trial, I would be like, look, I can't watch kids die. It's a fucking building. But if you were like, I'll give you $1 billion if you blow up the Sistine Chapel, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be worth it.
Yeah, I think that the moment.
Fuck no. In that case,
what?
I could help a lot of people with $1 billion.
$1 billion? Nah, that's a lot of money.
And that's the problem. Is then it's like, oh, how many lives could I save? Fuck. Well, actually, okay. If it's like enough money that I could legitimately save hundreds of thousands of lives,
you could end like hunger in the U.S. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't. No, the U.S. has money. It can handle itself. I would go places that don't. I would go help the places that don't have money because the U.S. fucked them over.
Or because the fucking
James Ross, the kids I could save with $1 billion.
Yeah, that's rough.
But if I get $1 billion and then go to prison for destroying the Sistine Chapel, it wasn't worth it because then that $1 billion just gets taken by the government anyway.
True.
So, fuck. I would have to know that I'm getting away with it, and I'd have to have $1 billion to help people with.
All right.
That's what it would take.
What about the line of what about the book that Gautona destroys? The literal secrets to writing the soul of the emperor accurately.
Oh yeah, no, that's not art. That's an essay about art. You can destroy the essay. I don't care about that. I want the art to exist.
Interesting.
I wouldn't kill the emperor.
I disagree. I think that what Shai did is art in a way. Like understanding someone's human experience to the extent that she did. I think that is art.
The explanation was for Gautona, not for the culture, right? And so I disagree with you. I think that book was her gift to him for being understanding, not a piece of art for art's sake. And so I wouldn't, yeah.
Okay.
I would be fine destroying that in the way that he did. Partially because I understand why he did it, right? If it got out that it would just be pandemonium.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't consider the explanation of what I did art. I don't need the book of what kind of brushstrokes were used on the Mona Lisa. I don't really care about that. I actually don't care about the brushstrokes on the Mona Lisa, right? That isn't what is important to me about it. I get that art history major people think that is. What matters to me about the Mona Lisa is when I look at it how I feel.
Yeah.
That's what's artistic. When I went and saw Sunday in the Park, the George Seurat painting, I don't really care that much about how pointillism works. I'm not that interested in the making of it. I can't do pointillism. What I'm interested in is when I stood at the back of that room when I was 15 years old, and I looked up at it and went, it's so big. When you actually see it, it's so big on the wall, and how I felt was what mattered.
Do you think then that the episode of Doctor Who where Van Gogh sees his own art is in a way art?
I mean, yeah, it's a TV episode. All TV episodes are art.
Okay. But I mean, if that were to happen in real life.
Is the moment art?
The experience of someone experiencing what their own art is to other people, is that in a sense also art?
No. It's an experience. It's not in the same way that watching my performances from when I was a child, that experience isn't artistic. I get something out of it, but it doesn't mean that the moment is artistic.
Okay.
The experience of that actor playing Van Gogh seeing his art is art.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that is an artistic expression of human emotion.
Yeah.
But experiencing human emotion isn't art.
Yeah.
Unless you are faking it as acting, which is a weird line.
True. But... Yeah. That's, yeah.
Belasrio says, is a reaction video art? No.
No.
It's an experience. A reaction video is not art. It is a shared experience of human emotion. Mm-hmm. But it is the thing that you are reacting to is the art. Yeah. We are sharing, much like, Van Gogh in that episode, his experience isn't art because it is about the experience. And it is about experiencing art. And reaction videos is about sharing our experience of art, right?
Yes.
But our reaction isn't art itself. Even though Brandon does a great job editing them. It isn't an artistic expression. In the same way that a video essay is not an artistic expression, right? Criticism is not an artistic expression. It is a reaction. It is an experiential thing.
Yeah.
This show is not art, right? I would not call
But
book
Les
club
Mis
art.
is art.
Les Mis would be, yeah. If we finished it and wrote it, I would agree that would be art.
Yeah.
I think that our Dragonlance show is art. I think that it is an artistic expression of our improvisational skills, right? Mm-hmm. I think that, and that's kind of the difference. Is like I think that in this show, Emperor's Soul is art. Our show is talking about it, and that is not the same thing.
Yeah.
We are not creating art right now. We are sharing our experience of it with you to have a communal experience.
Entertainment, but entertainment is not necessarily art.
Yes.
Yeah. Interestingly enough.
I don't think that any form of criticism is art. I think that's not true. I think that you can create a critique that's art, but it has to be the parameters around that have to be a very specific sort of like elevated kind of
Yeah.
Since I fake all my reactions, all my videos are art. That argument could be made. If you are not being genuine in your reactions to something, you could call that art.
You could.
Troll Chaos says, I think you're drawing arbitrary lines here. I don't think I am. I think the lines make sense. I think that calling...
I think anything
art
is
a specific
arbitrary line.
Well, that's true. As we talked about classifications earlier.
Arbitrary lines are made of arbitrary lines, so it doesn't matter.
Blue asks, which magic system that you've experienced so far would you want to be able to use? Allomancy.
Yeah, Allomancy is the coolest one. I
want to fly.
Genuinely do not have the attention span for seals. Maybe if my hyper focus kicked in, but there's no guarantee.
I can't imagine having enough energy to store up sleep. I'm so tired. Farrakami would be wasted because I'm exhausted. I don't have the energy to store up, and I'm already running on empty.
Fair.
Blue Sun found a quote in the Emperor's Soul that hints the connection between land and language. Does it change your mind in previous discussion? Arzu brings this up. The setting mark finished every soul stamp, indicating no more carving was to come. Shai had always fancied it to look like the shape of my pawn, her homeland.
I mean, does she fancy it that way, or does it look like it? I don't know.
Or is that her signature touch? But again, here's the thing. If that is true, right, then the essay saying that the magic is based on language doesn't make sense because the shape of her homeland isn't a language.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at some point, if that's true, cool, and all of the magic is regional, which is an interesting idea. Yeah. That's not the same thing as language, and so
fair.
The magic system isn't consistent within what I'm being told.
Yeah.
I like the idea that the setting stamp is my pawn and that it relates to the Arlon symbols, but then it makes the other things less sense.
It's the language thing that, I just don't think fits 100%.
Because at that point, you're just saying that anything is language.
Yeah.
Right? Connor Crane says, it says geography, not language. What?
We were told that the magic system is based on language.
You guys said that came from Disney, not me. Saronian says a map communicates an idea, so that's a cousin to language. And again, we're getting into the doors wide open, and if a map is considered language, then everything is language. Right?
I
and
think
this is where,
it is.
In order for magic to work, it has to be a little bit more specific than that. Because once it is, you just have to come up with a way of communicating an idea, and then you have magic. That can be anything. But then why doesn't saying spells work, right? Mm-hmm. Why is verbalized language the only language that doesn't work in this world? If you can draw it and you can dance it, why can't you
Because
speak
then it would
it?
be too close to the planet that uses sound.
I'm just saying
the same thing.
It gets a little too it's a little unlike Mistborn where everything really made sense. It just doesn't make as much sense here. It's very good, and Emperor's Soul is a very good story.
Yeah.
I think it might be the best thing Brandon. It's not my favorite thing he wrote, but it might be the best thing he's written that we've read. And but the system on Scadrial makes more sense consistently across everything that we've read than the systems of Cell, which feel loose and undefined.
Yes. I feel like we have less information, which is why I found the essay really interesting, even though, like, I don't get it yet 100%. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the show. We beat Cell. Much like Goku, we found the power within ourselves. We ascended to Super Saiyan forms here before unseen. Our hair turned colors you wouldn't believe. Mostly, Clarus went even more red than she was earlier in the week before her hair appointment. And we defeated Cell, a dangerous green demon from a faraway planet. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely not.
I didn't think so. Cell is a dangerous enemy in Dragon Ball Z.
Never seen it.
You've probably seen him, though.
I really doubt it.
I don't know. It's a pretty iconic design.
Can we clarify the schedule again? Absolutely. Next week we are off, and then we are starting with...
You've never seen this guy before?
No. That looks like a cheetah.
What?
Yeah, that looks like a fucking cheetah.
Chat, does this look like a cheetah to you?
A cheetah mixed with a savannah cat with the ears? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So next week we are off, and then we are doing fucking not Way of Kings. Warbreaker? That's the next one.
Sorry, but how does this look like a cheetah? What are you talking about? You really threw me through a fucking loop. So do you think that anything that has spots looks like a cheetah?
Well, no, those are specifically like cheetah-esque spots. Like jaguars and leopards have differently shaped rosettes than like a cheetah does. And it also looks like kind of a savannah cat because the ears are really long and pointed.
Oh my god, I'm gonna lose my mind.
How does it... What? That is not that far off.
He is a green alien.
Yeah.
A green alien with wings.
Yeah.
He looks like a bug. Like, he looks like a praying mantis. And, like, I just...
A praying mantis?
Yeah.
Nah. He's too buff. Praying mantises are, like, spindly.
He has wings! And you're like, that's a cheetah.
I thought that was a cape.
A cicada? Okay.
I thought that was a cape.
He's supposed to look like a beetle. I would take beetle.
No, I thought it was a cape.
I would take any of the things.
From this photo, that could be a cape, okay?
It could be
a cape.
It's
coming off of his shoulders.
But it still doesn't... Do cheetahs wear capes, Clarus?
No, I said it looks like... Not, like, exactly one-to-one like a cheetah. I saw the ears and the spots, and I went cheetah. Is that so weird? That seems perfectly normal to me. Cheetahs are my favorite animal, by the way.
Oh, you're just seeing cheetahs where you want to see cheetahs.
Some cheetahs are actually...
I see how it is.
No, some cheetahs are actually fancy. There are emperor cheetahs that have, like, stronger marks on them and, like, lines down their backs that are, like, actually, like, fancier cheetahs in a way.
Clarus, what was your high of Emperor's Soul?
How it made me feel about art.
I dig that.
I don't know how else to put that, but yeah, it is how I felt at the end of it and, like, how it made me think.
Cool.
Yeah. What is your low?
Ooh, that's actually tough.
Yeah.
It's really well written.
It is, yeah.
I think there's... I don't really have one. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I feel like The reveal that she changed Ashravan. No, it's good.
No, I like that.
I'm like working. It's good when you're like, fuck, I need to like make something up that's minutely a lie.
Yeah. What is the low? I mean, you could say that, like, it's a low, maybe that it's kind of melancholic, even though that is what makes it good. It's, like, kind of sad.
No, it's not a low. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's what chat thinks I don't like about it, but it's why I think it's good.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. I just really liked it. I guess that, like, it's not possible. You know what it actually is? I wish that it had... Here's my low. I wish that it had gotten a little bit more into... Because it kind of... There's, like, a couple of lines about it, but I also would have liked if it got a little bit more into her struggling with like, how the earliest parts of Ashravan's life are so foundational to who we become. And we kind of get a little bit of it in the conversation about his brother, but even that she has, like, writing about. But, like, how she fills in those early years and, like, the foundational years of life, despite them not being as written about. I think that would be, like, that was the one thing I kind of wanted from it, was a little bit more of a discussion of, like, how foundational early life is.
Okay. I think that's fair.
It sort of feels like Ashravan starts being a person at, like, 13. And I just am curious. Yeah, but even that, like, that's such a minute.
Yeah.
There's such a minute low. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a really well written. It is a really well written. It deserves a Hugo Award. It's a very well written story, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible, but who gives a shit? It's a good story, so that supervents logic.
Yeah. Who cares? Yeah.
What's your low?
I wish that I had understood a little bit better what, like, the state of that empire was. Like, a little bit of context for the things that, like, Ashravan did want to change originally.
Yeah, it just says change for the better. And you're like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I could have enjoyed a little bit more context on that, but that is very small.
Well, and I think that, like, people are like, well, you don't know how bad this tyrannical government is. And I'm like, all of the context clues in the book are bad. It's called tyrannical. The artist who paints that painting hates the government so much that he wants his own painting burned because they have it. They're holding this woman against her will and going to murder... Like, the leaders of this government are going to murder her after they're done using her.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you could say, like, it might not be that bad, but everything we see is awful.
Yeah.
I have no reason to believe this isn't fucking the equivalent of Nazi Germany, right? I have no reason not to. But everything we learn about the outside world of this is awful, and all of the people in charge are willing to commit murder. So, like, it's clearly a bad place from what we see. And we're never presented with anything otherwise. We can assume because we're not presented with a lot about it, but everything we are presented is bad. The people who live in this empire hate it. You know what I mean? Like, they accept it because it works, but...
Well, from Shai's perspective...
That's why she believes they accept it, yeah. But
that's why it's tough to know. We don't actually really have any kind of clarification on it, so... Yeah, that's why I wish there was maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
What's
I
your
agree
high?
With you. My high is the thing we didn't talk about that I was saving for this moment, which is that Galtona doesn't believe that there can be artistry in what Shai does. And when she fixes the wall to create a painting that never existed, and he doesn't understand what she has accomplished because she has created new art with her ability that he thought was previously impossible. That was the highlight of it for me. Was her, like, because that's the moment where his mind really starts to change, is in realizing that she invented a way for a piece of art to exist that never existed. Mm-hmm. And so the wall, the painting on the wall from the guy who stayed in this cell before her, that never actually painted a wall, is really chef's kiss beautiful.
Interesting. I thought that the wall, that she just made him stay in a different room? But I think I might have, like, misread that.
Yeah. He never stayed. Yeah, no, he stayed upstairs. But she recreated the history that he stayed in this room and painted this wall.
Right. But he didn't paint that upstairs.
Not that I don't know how she could know that. She's never been in that other room.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she invented a history that maybe could have happened.
Right.
And in doing so created a painting in a style that isn't even her people, that is another culture's people, but she was able to create it life through a history. Like, that moment is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, fair.
It's so
Honestly,
good.
Yeah, that's fair.
And yeah, I liked it a lot.
I love that.
Very
cool. Alec, welcome back to the Nerd Table. Always enjoy how nerdy and close go through stuff that I would never think about. Enjoyed this week's reading quite a bit. Yeah.
I mean, thank Arzu and the mods for telling us to read it.
Well, yeah.
I would have never thought to read this either.
I just wouldn't know, but I'm so glad that we did, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I honestly think that, like, book club has helped me think about things in new ways as well, because before, when I would just read things, I would read it and then put it away, and it was done. Like, the analyzing of stories that we've been doing on book club, I think, has opened my own horizons on, like, fascinating things, like, what is art? You know what I mean? Like things that we talk about like this, that I genuinely find really interesting to talk about.
Yeah, Geoscope33 says, not gonna lie, nerdy, that sounds like a super snobby definition of art. I don't really understand what's snobby about my definition of art.
That it can't just be anything?
Yeah, it can't just be anything. It has to be something that you create.
Yeah.
I don't think that's very snobby. I think snobby would be like, well, it has to be good. I've never said that.
It must be good.
It's not about
and you have to go to university for it.
I just think that if you are making a YouTube video where you are talking about a piece of art, that YouTube video isn't art. The art is the art. And you're talking about art. Like, I know what I'm doing on this channel.
Yeah.
Right? But I also think my game where I play Dungeons and Dragons is art. I don't think it's... I think snobby... I think snobby's the wrong word. I think I get what you're trying to get at, in that, like, why can't a YouTube video that's a reaction video be artistic? And I hear what you're saying. I think I do, but I don't think that that's art. I don't think writing a critique of a movie is art. I think the art is the movie, and you're critiquing it from your personal standpoint. But, like, opinions aren't art. They're just opinions.
Opinions aren't really creative.
Yeah, they're reactive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that if you write a 3-sentence haiku that is not good, that is art, right?
Sure. Yeah. You don't have to go to fucking Oxford to be an artist.
I think that there are individual jokes in our reactions that are art.
Sure.
But I don't think criticism in its natural state is art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think that art... I think that you have to create something for it to be artistic. Yeah. And, like, you can be reactionary in, like, I'm going to write a song that I was inspired to write by that, and that is art. And, like, yeah, you've created something. But me being like, I liked this because of these reasons isn't art. It is me commenting on art. It is me, like, trying to tell you what my feelings about the art involved are.
Yes. And I don't think that the act of turning on a camera and filming something in and itself is art. But if you were to, again, create a drawing based on how a artistic experience made you feel, that you called your review, that is art.
There's a lot of podcasts I listen to that I think are very good informational podcasts, but they're not art. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, that's not their function. Their function is to be educational or informational. Whereas, like, I think that Bluey is both informational, educational, and also is art, because it, like, takes that next step of being more than just informational. I listened to the New York Times podcast, The Daily, for the news, right? I think that the music on The Daily is art. Mm-hmm. I don't think that someone being like, and this is what happened at the UN meeting today, I don't think that's art. It's information. Yeah.
It is just relaying. Yeah. No, I agree.
Christian Rapper says, so a reaction video can be art, going by that definition. I think that in order for it to be art, the reaction video has to be transformational in a way that I don't think ours often are. The reactions that we make, and that I think the majority of reaction videos are us sharing our opinion of something else. Yeah. We don't do a lot of crazy editing. We don't add in a lot of jokes. I think that if you're one of those people that is, like, throwing memes in there, and, like, there's a lot of, like, crazy zooms, and
or it's like an animated version of you that's watching a thing or whatever.
I think that's very artistic.
Yeah.
I just don't think that that's what we are doing. Yeah. We are a little bit more strict about sitting down and giving our opinions. Yeah. And that's just the style that we like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that our style is less artistic than other styles where there is a lot of art involved. I think that, but I don't think just giving your opinion is art.
No.
I think that you have to do something else. You have to like give it you have to like elevate it in some way that we don't really try to do. That's not that part of our channel. Obviously we have artistic things that we do on the channel, but that part of our channel is not art, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know, I agree.
Yeah.
Damn, what a book club.
Arzu says, do you think documentaries are art? Sometimes.
Depends how many liberties they take.
Yep.
Yeah.
Belazrio says, can non-art still have copyright? Yeah, you can copyright anything.
Yeah. You can copyright something as intellectual
property. Art
property.
Has nothing to do with copyright.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a complicated question, and I think that like that line can be a little bit fuzzy because there can be artistic things about things that are not art.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Lordbolt, thank you for that super chat.
Final question. After Warbreaker, Expanse or Way of Kings? Don't know yet. We'll let you know. When we do the Expanse live chat. Yeah.
Most likely it will be Warbreaker, Expanse, and then Way of Kings. Because I think we do want to throw an Expanse in there. And we're not going to throw it in the middle of books.
Yeah, we'll probably do book one of the Expanse after Warbreaker. Yeah. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. But in terms of the schedule, next week we are off. Then the following week we start Warbreaker
Prologue to Chapter 21.
21.
Yeah.
Okay? We will create a schedule for you guys today.
I'm going to go get Warbreaker. We'll end with the beginning of Warbreaker.
Okay. We're going to create a schedule for you guys today. So we have like a visual thing that we can pin inside the Discord for everybody. So we're all on the same page. Yeah. We're home. We're home, and we're doing book club consistently after next week for several weeks. Summer gets a little bit questionable, so we will keep you guys updated as we figure out our plans. That book's so small. Acknowledgement.
For Emily, who said yes.
Aw, they got married.
Consent is important.
We got a map.
Yeah.
The Court of God. Oh my God.
Tittyleer.
Titelier.
Welcome to Tittyleer. Prologue.
This is gonna go well.
Of Warbreaker. It's funny, Vasher thought. How many things begin with my getting thrown into prison? The guards laughed to one another, slamming the cell door shut with a clang. Vasher stood and dusted himself off, rolling his shoulder and wincing. While the bottom half of his cell door was solid wood, the top half was barred, and he could see the 3 guards open his large duffel and rifle through his possessions.
This sounds similar to Emperor's Soul.
It's the same start.
Yeah, you're getting thrown into a jail.
He wrote Warbreaker on his honeymoon. Brandon, you have a problem, okay? That is the most disturbing thing I've ever read in my life.
One of them noticed him watching. The guard was an oversized beast of a man with a shaved head and a dirty uniform that barely contained the bright yellow and blue coloring of the Tittyleer City Guard.
Tittyleer. All right. Yeah, we're not going to do Smut Corner today because there's none. I don't want to add it to any of this. But Raoden and Sereni definitely fuck.
Well, yeah, she's fucking pregnant. She's fertile.
If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you don't, hit the dislike button. Leave me comments down below because the algorithm got us hungry and we must feed her. Give us 5 stars on all the things. That's going to be the end of book club for Cell. But guys, we're back.
Is that Vin with a sword?
No.
I'm just kidding.
Different lady. Do something nerdy tonight. Thank you so much. We will see you in 2 weeks with the beginning of Warbreaker.
Bye, guys. It's
Bye,
going to
everybody.
be fun.